Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, happy Europe Week to you all. It is finally time for the European qualifiers for the Rocket League Spring Series here on Rocket Kingdom TV. My name is Craftman and joined here for the first half of the stream by my colleagues Ireleak and Jar of Jam. Guys, I'm so excited for today. I've been waiting for this day for God knows how long. What are you guys looking forward to? Ireleak, it's Europe Week. I just cannot contain my excitement. I'm sorry.
It feels like Eurovision. Goodness me. To be fair though, I'm excited as well. I really am, because it has been a little too long since Europe has seen some like proper major Rocket League action. The last time, of course, being Rival Series. It was a great season, but we've been starved. We're going to be fed well, and we are hopefully going to have so many matches to show you guys today. We hope they're all going to be close. Some of them might even have some spectacular goals. Can't wait to get stuck in.
Yeah, nor can I. 517 teams started yesterday, Jam. We've whittled it down to 64, and 4 will go on to the weekend competition to join the other 4 teams who have auto-qualified from the RLCS. Jam, what is... one team, I want one team, maybe 2 teams from you that you're looking forward to see today that you're interested in.
It's impossible to pick, Ratman. There are just too many. First of all, this is a rare chance for RLCS teams to play with rival teams. Second of all, this is a chance for all the bubble teams that didn't make it through the plains or are just still on in the up and up to get and test their mettle against some top of the teams. But you just look at the whole roster, the whole squad over here, the field. Teams from Rival Series. You see Scrubkilla revitalizing Weedham girls, such as girls with Griezmeister and Breezy. We have a lot of roster swaps. Magnus is playing with Singularity. Metzenaris is playing with Endpoint. Cash is now with Monaco. Tigre with the players from Notorious Legion. It's just too crazy. If I had to pick one, perhaps, you know what? Let's go with Kaunos. A familiar name from Season 3. Now they're back in action. If they're going to win something, hard to tell, but at the very least, it's nice to see them get some old squad back together and try it all over again.
Yeah, and this is something you bring up a good point there, Jam, about roster swaps. That we see this a lot throughout the RLCS offseason, but we never really get to see the roster swaps in action until RLCS the next season starts. This is a perfect chance to see the new rosters coming through, who's made changes, what they could potentially look like going into the RLCS and indeed the Rival Series for next season, and I can't wait to get started. So let's get on to our first game of the day. It is Drifters versus Los Hombres de Paco here in the first round of the upper bracket. Ireleak, take us through these teams. Why don't you?
So the Drifters, in another lifetime, you might have known them as Baguette Squad, who have the unenviable record of having the largest defeat in a single game in European Rival Series, that being the 12-1 defeat at the hands of Solari. And in fact, that entire series was just a complete wipe, losing obviously in 3 games, but losing 19-2, the scoreline overall. It was just so... I mean, by that point, it wasn't shocking, but the fall from grace of this team, we were saying pre-season, surely got to be battling for promotion. Go back a season, you look at ARG, they finished with the same record as Baguette Squad in RLCS Season 8 in the Rival Series, and yet what became BDS Esport went on to win the league, automatically promoted to the RLCS for Season 10. Baguette Squad didn't even win a single series. The last time they've won a series in a major competition was RLCS Season 8. Actually, last game of the season, they won 3-1 against Team Singularity. So, again, we're not talking about a team here that was kind of average and then became bad. They were a good team that just fell apart at the seams. In comes Ben at the end of last season, does pretty well. They almost beat RCD Espanyol, pretty decent. But instead, they have opted, for at least a spring series, to go with Kokar, previously of Team Vertex. A much more defensive player, I would say, than Yukis in prospect. And I am hoping, Crafters and Jam, that this allows Ritual and Swoopin to be released from their shackles. They are both very capable players. They are both capable of shooting on net. I hope that they're going to be shooting on net a lot with Kokar, hopefully tasked with more defensive duties. Fingers crossed anyway. And what about Paco's men? I'm English. I'm going to go with them, right? Natvital, right? So RLCS experience previously from Endpoint. But it seems like it's quite a well-balanced match because you've got 3 Rival Series players going up against an RLCS player with 2 bubble team guys. Now, you've got Demenza. He's been in the bubble scene for a while. Excited to see what he can do. Kier Monster, bit of a no-known, but they're all Spanish, and so communication on that front shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, bim bam and away they're going to be. And just picking up on that team, Jam, Nachito obviously dropped from endpoint at the end of the season. Just there, he was not really the best statistically in that team, but it wasn't a great statistical team anyway. How do you think he's going to fit in with these rising stars on the team of Los Hombres?
It's going to be just a big test for them. They really don't have anything too big to play for. This is a squad that has gotten together specifically for this tournament. We have not seen them in any of the weeklies, any of the monthlies. And as such, it's just a couple of friends will trying to get something together, see if it clicks. If it doesn't, well, go separate ways and try again. Otherwise, it's just like our league has mentioned. The ability to communicate in the same language is going to be a boon. Nachito's experience on a high level also should elevate that team just a little bit higher. But honestly, I'm not expecting that much from him. If I had to pick a team to win in this matchup, it's going to be the Drifters with their experience that they've accrued throughout the whole seasons. For now, for Los Hombres de Paco, the only real big win that you could definitely say, all right, this is looking interesting. They've done something. It was in the first day of the Open qualifiers. That was yesterday versus IKEA Gang. You might recognize his name says Meaty, Chiria, and Nix, who are playing for that team and who the Los Hombres de Paco beat 3-0.
Yeah, so you're taking the Drifters in this one, Jam. Our league, what about yourself? This revitalized ex-Baguette squad with a new look. How do you think they'll go face up against Los Hombres de Paco? And what you're best of five.
Best of five. I mean, I think it's going to be actually quite close. I really do. I think that I would expect Los Hombres to at least pick up one game. I personally think they're going to pick up two. I think it's going to go all the way to game 5. But you've got to side with the more experienced roster, I feel. The Drifters have plenty of rival series experience in there. And yes, you got Nachito with RLCS, but we think back to the rival series play-ins even pre-season before season 9, and there was a little team there called the Boys, which featured a lot who had all of the RLCS experience alongside Burrito B and Calix, who had rival series experience themselves. They didn't make it. They had 2 bites of the cherry. And so just because you got an RLCS player, the gap keeps shortening and shortening and shortening between these 2 tiers, Craftman. And so that's why I've got to go with the Drifters on this particular occasion. I want to see them win for the first time in a season.
Yeah, it's going to be experience versus the rising star power here in our first match of the day. Let us know in chat who you've got, and use the hashtag on Twitter, RLSS at Rocket Kingdom TV. But with no further ado, it's over to you guys. Let's get this matchup underway.
Thank you very much, Craftman. And so, in the orange, we're going to have the Drifters. In the blue, we're going to have Los Hombres. And if you are Los Hombres, we're both going with the Drifters, Jam. What we're going to have to do, because obviously Demensa, we've been saying he's got plenty of experience on the bubble scene at least. Kier Monster, a little bit less so. I think he's the real unknown going into today. Is it a case of just settling the nerves, counter-attacking, seeing what you can do from the off? Or is it a case of perhaps trying to go a bit gung-ho and trying to catch the Drifters off guard as they look to Coca?
I mean, this is a Spanish team, so immediately the Spanish Bim Bam playstyle comes to mind. Aggressive. You might call it ball chasing, but it is a little bit more delicate than that. I would say if this is how they want to play, sure, go for it. Go all out, go gung-ho. And Kier Monster, there you have it. Perhaps a little bit unknown to the bigger masses, but he makes the first touch on that game. First goal of today, and first one for the Hombres de Paco.
It was a nice transition off the wall, and Coca was caught a little bit out of rotation there. Obviously, early jitters, early nerves. As I say, I'm expecting a different style from this ex-Baguette squad roster. They didn't really have a style last season. It was just kind of bad, but I do see these guys... a little stale, yeah. I would expect them to go a little bit more like Team BDS, though, where they have an anchor player in Coca, and that allows Visual and Swooping to move further up the field, get a few more shots on goal, because all 3 of these players, their stats across the season wasn't great, but Nachito showing some RLCS quality there, a shot palmed away by Coca, and then further down the field by Coca once again. Swooping's going to challenge on the wall, and what a nice waiting moment there from Coca. Gets a challenge in as well. The ball loiters in a dangerous area, but no one willing to commit through, and still 1-0 as Demensa takes it to midfield.
There's a lot of risks that the side of Drifters could have taken, but I think it's a good thing that they're going passive. We could see right there Swoopin also trying to set up himself and then go straight forward. And I agree with the R League. When a situation such as this, when Rizzle and Swoopin have been played together for a really long time, and if they bring a new player, that player needs to adjust to them. And so that third anchor role is perfect position for Koka to slide in. But in the end, of course, they all need to contribute equally. They all need to do their rotations, do their dues, and Koka in midfield might create something that's just a tad too high.
It was a little too complicated a play, wasn't it? He was looking for bumps when honestly he probably could have and should have just had a shot on net. Nachitao on target. Kokar going to be forced into a save off to the side, and it should be up to Kokar. No, Monster coming in with a great challenge, and Swooping going to go to the wall. Gets it past Dementor and towards the corner. Not able to beat out Nachitao, and Visual was flying in at a rate of knots and decided to stave off the challenge. Dementor now gets it over the top of Visual, round the corner, and Swooping has pre-jumped that. Awful play. Easy goal, Nachitao, 2-0.
Not in this case. You cannot defend with such recklessness. You can see right there flying one, then the other. Koka from his position couldn't have done nothing. There were some great saves from the Drifters previously, but that's the second goal coming in. And despite the pressure that they have in the offense, they're out shooting the Honduras right now. It is not helping them. Still, it feels to me that out of the two teams, it is the Drifters who have a game plan, and it is Los Hombres who are currently sort of going with the flow, yet it is working.
I'm loving some of these plays from Monster. He's got some creativity. That much has become apparent in the first half of game number 1. The creativity is not going to get you all the way to a victory in this series. Off the bar from Kokar. And Swooping has slowed the play down, sends it central, but Monster away. Kokar was maybe looking for Swooping, who's back into retreat, and Visual forced all the way back as well. It does seem like, although they have a game plan, Jam, the Drifters are really struggling to connect in the offense, which, to be fair, that was a major problem with Baguette Squad, and Monster fires wide. That should have been on target. That should have been 3.
Oh, look at that. Another play, and you see Koka going for the same ball as his teammate, as Swoop and Rizzo trying to play with each other. Koka still thinks that perhaps it's his. Good redirect. That's a double commit, but nobody's really close to get it.
Very nice.
The play is definitely slow.
Very
and
nice.
Here it is. Oh, he lost it. The problem is, perhaps for the ex-Baguette Squad, is that the playstyle gets bogged down in a couple of places, and as such, they are not able to fall down to just really show their full potential. The slow style of play seemingly is benefiting Los Hombres.
And it's been wonderful to see in general from Los Hombres. They have very much adapted to the situation quickly. They came out guns blazing, and that one question mark which I had in Monster. I mean, he's showing up, whether you call it overconfidence, maybe a bit of naivety. Sometimes that's enough to unsettle opposition, and especially when they're ex-Baguette Squad, you think of the season that they've just had. Maybe that's all you need. That is not what you need. Dementor Pepe hands. That's an OG.
Yeah, look at that. Good one. Good idea. Bad execution. Not the goal that the Drifters were looking for, but the goal that they'll gladly take. That brings them within 1. That small mistake might be just enough. They are still in the attack. You could see them trying variety of approaches. It's just that they're lacking that final movement. Koka, not even sure what he was going for. The positioning right now for the Drifters betray him just slightly. The places from which they're going for it, they're currently in defense though. But the position from which they start their block, their aerial, are not allowing them to then continue their play. They're sort of putting themselves in a deadlock where the only other answer is flop again and try for more, but it is not viable for good clears, for good setups, and right now for the goal that they're looking for.
Worth mentioning, I guess, at this point, as we enter the final 10 seconds, the Drifters have not scored on their own. And in fact, they almost concede number 3 after a lovely bit of play from Dementor in an effort to redeem himself. The ball is surely going to touch the ground at some point, if not resulting in a 3rd goal. No, Kokar's going to take this one, try and get it over the top of Monster. Visual's going to keep it up, but that is way too far away from Kokar, who was upfield. And that is a 2-1 victory for Los Hombres. They take series advantage. And yeah, there were some good ideas from the Drifters. You can see when it comes to the shots, Jam, 9 on the side of the Drifters, 10 on the side of Los Hombres. It was a close match, but it was the individual creativity that was lacking for the Drifters. Los Hombres, we see the likes of Monster, Dementor, and Nachitao all having stand-up plays. Back to the drawing board for the Drifters. They've got to think up of something fast.
And right now, it just seems that they do not have enough cohesion just yet as a team. With Koka coming in, yes, he scored a goal. Yeah, he has been trying to go for all these passes. They all understand what they need to do. It's just a matter of actually making it click. There's little difference of how everyone has been approaching this. After you play with a team, in case of Koka, that was Team Vertex for a really long time, you learn things the specific way. And when all of a sudden you need to do it somewhat differently, it breaks it down. And right here, it doesn't seem like they've gotten it just yet. The problem is they don't have a long time to fix this. They have less than 30 minutes now. Of course, they have the lower bracket. If they want to get a run there, well, props to them if they do so. But for now, this game, those 5 minutes have unfolded that it does seem that the Drifters are not just yet ready. They're not at that stage where you can consider them favorites. I would like to see more from them for the second game, and then by no means Los Hombres de Paco have shown that they are a completely dominant team. It just shows that the game number 2 can still go either way, especially if the Drifters start connecting more, get a little bit more of speed for their play, and Los Hombres are not stopping them as much. And if Los Hombres are no longer getting those interesting looks, some of the free shots that perhaps Drifters gave them, then the scoreline might be the complete opposite.
It definitely feels as well to me that they're not playing to Kokar's strength. He's a much more defensive player than Yukis was, certainly. And I feel like we saw that in the offense, there just wasn't that synergy. We talk so many times about double commits, and more often than not, they included Kokar. You've got a team here that is more than happy to do solo plays and to wait for the defense to try and just, make something happen. And I feel like looking at Kokar, you can use his strengths to stave off the attacks and maybe look to counterattack. I'm trying to find positives where we can get Los Hombres into a bit of a precarious position, but to create that vibe, you need to unsettle them. And they certainly look like a team that's not going to be unsettled.
It takes only 1 or 2 plays to really throw the team off their play. Just score a couple of goals, put themselves in the position where they have to chase that game, and all of a sudden you might see a completely different team. One that is too nervous, one that is really struggling to string a bunch of passes. And for that, I feel like Koka in that offensive position rather the defensive one. You've seen him multiple times. He was staying upfield, trying to receive the passes from his teammates. That actually might set them up. That is just a general great strategy, whether you are the Drifters or whether you are some other team. This works. This allows you to start that counterattack. Thankfully, there are no offside rule in Rocket League, so you can shoot that ball as far as you can on the other side of the field. And if you have a player there in a good position, sometimes it is a 100% goal. So let's see if they can do something like that. A couple of times still, it feels like we've seen that there are 2 players and then there's 1 player. I would like to see 3 players. I would like to see not the 2 Baguette Squad players playing with each other, but also bringing Koka in. Whether they can do it, it's a big question. Otherwise, I feel like the Koka, once again, will have to be that third. Not the player who receives the play, but the player who perhaps starts the play and then Rizal and Swoop and finish it.
Right, the wait is over. Talkit League is done. And maybe the extra time will have given the Drifters time to think about what they've done and what they can do better. Certainly that's going to be something that was in the thought process for someone like Natcha Tao. Of course, dropped rather unceremoniously from endpoint, and if you look at the stats, I mean, I've been looking up Octane.gg for a good couple of hours, both today and yesterday, and it's pretty clear what he needs to improve on. He had the most shots per game of any endpoint player last season in the RLCS, and yet had the least goals, the least assists, the least saves. He was bottom of all those categories. It's not what he was doing that was the problem. It's the potential that he wasn't living up to, which was the issue. And funnily enough, actually, he was bottom in total, well, not bottom, but he was in the bottom 5 of total assists in RLCS Season 9, joined, funnily enough, by the man who replaced him, Metzinaris, his Kier monster, whose shot's going to go wide, and gives up possession to Swoop In, who's going to try and get it over the top of the aforementioned Natcha Tao, but A nice touch off the backboard. Nice play in from Visual. And that is a beautiful goal from Kokar. The first actual goal that the Drifters have scored. And it sees them 1-0 up in game number 2.
They finally managed to get a setup. Look at that, the perfect pass finding Koka. Ritual knew that he had to either hit the backboard again, but he didn't have enough power. He prefers to drop it down where Koka is already rotating in a position. He managed well to bring all the defenders from Los Hombres de Paco out, and this is the result. The goalie in the net, Nachdao, he was there. There was just not enough height for him to do anything with that ball.
That was a nice little quick pass in field. And now we see what Los Hombres are made of coming from behind. Nice little individual play from Demensa, forces a save to the side from Swoopin, who gets a challenge in on Nachatao. This should be Ritual's ball, who's going to take it to the corner, gets a second touch. Demensa pre-flipping off the backboard. You do not want to do that. We saw what pre-jumping and trying to double guess the offense can do when it comes to the Drifters. Of course, they gave up a goal directly from a mistake on that level. Ritual. Yeah, he helps it towards the net, but a bit wayward and not challenged in midfield. So it's left to Nachatao 1v1. The challenge comes in, though, and rather fortuitously lands in the way of Kokar, who goes in field. Right idea, but lands straight onto the front bumper of Kier Monster. Midfield battle waged, and ultimately it's going to be Kier Monster with another shot on net. Demensa goes for the bump, but it's Kokar with the save.
That was either a bump or a attempt to redirect that ball. Both ideas were grand, just none of them come to fruition. Interesting ideas from Los Hombres de Paco. They, again, when the play slows down, when it's not blazing shots or blazing passes, they're trying to create a little bit of something else. And here, this is as good as a clear as it gets. Koka finds the other side of the field. After you see that Los Hombres de Paco pressed just a little bit too far, already on the retreat, nobody's able to throw a block, and yet not close enough to their net to actually get on something. Sometimes your defensive clears is your bread and butter, and Koka is currently showing that.
You gotta give Kier Monster some credit. He almost reached that, and there was a bit too much swish on the infield pass from Demensa, and so that's a 2-0 advantage now for Drifters. Swoopin. Looking for Visual. Goes towards the corner rather than a shot on net, and Visual manages to get it past not just one, not just two, and almost gets the goal from the pass of Kokar, and oh, feels bad, man. What a challenge from Demensa that was. It goes all the way in, and it's 1 goal back for Los Hombres. A rather lucky play, if you ask me.
Oh man, that was potentially such a great play. Pass back from Koka to his teammate, I believe that was Visual, still flipping back from his initial shot. They had the net of Los Hombres at their mercy, and yet it didn't come in, and man, it just stinks. We've been robbed of a really great goal. Now, it is the comeback time for Los Hombres de Paco. They want to stop that lead that Drifters have created themselves. 2 goals. So far, the most they have scored in the series, previously only ending with 1. And here it's once again getting a tad confusing. Demensa will have to go well, and he reads that perfectly. Top right corner after he just beats everyone. Look at that stop. Look at everything.
That's, I mean, if the first goal was lucky, then the second goal was confidence. That was really well placed, using his dominus to its biggest advantage. And getting that power to win the challenge. Tie game with 1.5 minutes. Here comes Demensa again. Visual gets there first. Kier Monster looking for the backboard. It's not going to reach it. Nachatao booms it back to sender. And here's Visual again. Looking to get off the wall. Doesn't actually touch it. Susses out the midfield presence. And now it's 3v1. Swoopin is taken out for his troubles. Demensa just ever so slightly touches it off to the side and is able to pick up possession for himself. Looks to get over the top of Visual. Visual having none of it. Ball goes over to the far wall. Swoopin should have this. Yes, he does. Not got much boost to work with, but he does get a second touch. Kier Monster reads him. And Visual keeps it high. Again, not much boost to work with. Demensa closes him down. Demensa growing in confidence by the minute jam. And here comes Kier Monster. Save away from Visual. Los Hombres are really gearing up.
They want that 3rd goal, and really, they're looking like they're deserving of that 3rd goal. After the half point of the game, they have switched gears. Now it's a completely different team. Better be careful in front of the net. One bit of confusion, and we've seen a lot of it in this series.
What a goal.
My goodness, Swoopin knew exactly what he needed to do. Waiting after his rotation, He knows he does not need to go far. He didn't even grab any boost. That was not a half rotation. That was a quarter rotation back to the net for where his teammate Rigel has set him up. I thought this is going to be Los Hombres getting that third goal. Instead, the Drifters decided that enough is enough, and in style, enough pressure. And I was afraid for Los Hombres Paco, specifically in that situation. A little bit too pressure and they would crack. This is starting again.
It was a good read. And that was good communication as well. You can tell that that's two teammates who've been together for a while. And ultimately, that was a bit of a scare from Los Hombres, but the Drifters are going to win their first game on day 2 as this roster. That is a tie series. Again, really close when you look at the stats, Jam. Less shots, a lot more midfield scrapping. I feel like the passing game, it was less long-range passing and more short tiki-taka passing, trying to pounce upon mistakes. Of course, Demensa's first goal, very fortuitous. This is really shaping up to be the series that I was expecting it, and we go in with a clean slate into game number 3. Whoever wins that goes on to match point, and even then, I don't think that we're going to see an instant, game 4 continuation of that game 3, because it's very much on a knife edge right now.
I'm expecting the game to get even more complicated as it goes on. I still feel we haven't seen both of the teams at their fastest. They're still looking for that final gear, and that's where it perhaps is going to click, and that's where perhaps we're going to see the snowball from one of the squads. For now, it is still, there's a lot of that chess play, positional play. Passes are coming in, but those passes are often nothing too crazy, but it works. We've seen some of those perfect setups between as Ritual has been setting up his teammates. For a second time in a row, though, Iroleague, it is MVP of the game is someone who has not been scoring goals, but has been helping his team with assists, setting up the plays, making sure that the net is staying safe. In the first game, that was Demensa. In the second game, that was almost Demensa as well. He was scoring goals, though, in that one. This time, it was Ritual, who has been a backbone for his team, assisting 2 of those 3 goals.
And so into game number 3 we go. Kier Monster closed down in game number 2. Can he find his stride? Not if Kokar's going to have anything to say about it. Forces an attempted save as his ball ricochets off the woodwork, rather. And Ritual following through is a double commit even between Demensa and Kier Monster, which sees on the 4-minute 44 mark a 1-0 lead already for Drifters.
Nothing too extra fancy, just your standard backboard plays, and that double commit is usually what you expect from something like this. Try to not just go an exchange of 1 versus 1 shooter, 1 defender, try to get 2. That's exactly what Drifters got with that play. After that, finishing it up was just a matter of putting it on target, and Ritual did.
Nobody really knowing what to do with this ball until Kokar calls off his team. Ritual meeting Demensa on the backboard as Nachatau floats it towards net. Ritual, lovely pass down to Kokar. And Kier Monster forced to try and slam it into the back. What an infield pass from Ritual, swooping as the defense at his mercy. Double commit, but Nachatau comes out with the save. Ritual again misses the challenge. It's Demensa 1v1 versus swooping, and it's off the crossbar. Would you believe it? Oh, so close to a goal. Nachatau floating it over one. Demo coming through. Where's the third? Where's the third? Open nets abound on the Drifters' side, but no goal for Los Hombres. Another infield pass comes through and Ritual away.
They need to be much closer if you want to create something out of that one, but all that mess in the defense of Drifters not used by the side of Los Hombres de Paco. Maybe another drop? No, that's going to be a counterattack. Swoopin has time. Swoopin has the net at his mercy. Swoopin makes it 2-0. This is not the first time we've seen this. Los Hombres de Paco crash the net. This time, of course, that demo really have helped Drifters to open up the defense to really make sure that this is a breakaway. But the fact is, when you throw all of that on the net and get nothing, either you're not trying well enough or you need to rethink something, because it is not currently working for Los Hombres.
And let's give credit as well to Kokar, who, rather than trying to just boom the clear out, instead he drilled that ball into the ground, completely sussed out Nachatau. But that is a banger from downtown. Nachatau with another assist. Demensa with a fierce finish.
Surprise! Swoopin was trying to read that play, but even he was not ready for more than 100 kilometers per hour shot. I just rattled his net. Nobody Nobody can run away with this game, our league. This is as close as it gets. 2-goal lead is the biggest we've seen so far. And once again, it has been cut down to 1. And who knows? Ooh, this is a great chip. Koka needs to reach for that. Now it's once again Los Hombres in the attack. Can they stay here? Can they finally figure something out? Those passes, so great for the Drifters. I think the Los Hombres de Paco have learned a lesson or two and now trying to execute something of their own.
Now Chitao closing down that offense before it really got started. Demensa, ballerina through the air, trying to get the backboard pinch, but Kokar having absolutely none of that. He stays on the backboard and doesn't actually get the touch, but Swoopin's going to throw this one downfield straight to Demensa, who takes it back to the backboard. And Rizwal throws over to the side once again, attempting to go for the crunch period here. Here comes the third, and that is a beautiful placement from Nachatao. Tie game just past the halfway mark.
They are testing them. This time, Koka was not on the backboard. He was challenging Demensa in the air. Lovely stuff. And you could see that the game has opened the moment this is not a bunch clumping up of players. The moment you can get those wide shots and passes coming through, all of a sudden the game really shines for both of the teams. Originally for Drifters, it is right now Los Hombres de Paco on the path of war. They're getting back into this game. They won't let this go.
When we were talking yesterday amongst casters and production about what should be our first game of the day, which one should we choose? I thought this one might be a little bit special, and what an entertaining series it has been so far. So close between the two teams. Kier Monster now gets it past 1. Nachatao was lurking, but here comes the counter-attack. Swooping. Got more boost to work with. Leaves it to Demensa. Chip to Kier Monster. And Kokar able to get a touch. Nachatao backboard, gonna lurk. Double commit from Rizwal and Swoopin. Kokar can see the issue, but remains in midfield, has trust in his teammates to get that out, and the trust was rewarded, even if it didn't really amount to much. Just under 90 seconds left. And Demensa with a missed touch once again. Rizwal keeps it low to the ground. And Kokar's going to throw back into midfield before Nachatao has his day. Kier Monster. Again, trying to fashion something. Swooping gets a challenge. Nachatao, loitered ball. And Rizwal away once again. The defense holding strong for Drifters.
Seems like Los Hombres currently are just trying to throw something at the Drifters and see how they react. Whether in the attempt to clear it, they send 2 players, or whether the touch that they make is beneficial for Los Hombres, then they can jump on it. Otherwise, you could see it was a clear, a chip, and then a fallback, and then another one as they tried for a second attempt. And this is, in this situation of a tie game, it's a valid strategy. They're just trying to play conservatively. But perhaps they want to go a little bit more on the aggressive side. This clear might have been it. Is there a second player coming through? Yes, double commit on the flank. Los Hombres back. We need to be careful of that. Triple commits, aggressive playstyle in the offense were the downfall of them for at least a couple of goals this series.
That was good from Kokar as well. But the pressure was oncoming, and it was seeming by the second to be a question of when, rather than if. Demensa closing down Rizwal before the clearance had come through. And you have to say he's the team leader in this situation. Nachatao with the go-ahead goal, just 15 seconds left for the Drifters to try and find a response, any response, to even attempt to try and take it to overtime. It's another shot that goes blisteringly high from Demensa. Kier Monster going to bring it down to the corner. Just a question of time wasting now. Maybe one last opportunity for the Drifters. Nachatao tries to kill the play, and Demensa will. That is serious advantage and match point for Los Hombres de Paco. Drifters, they were in it all the way. It's been the same case as every single game so far. Jam so close between the two teams. But the biggest difference came in this particular match where the shots count matters. 11 on the side of Los Hombres, and the Drifters only able to amount 5. They did take their chances when they came, but most of that offensive pressure came through the team in blue.
No question about it. Los Hombres de Paco have been testing out the Drifters in any way possible, and for most part, it has been working out for them. In the end, another 1-goal game, another small difference. In any other case, that might have been gone the other way, but Koka, Rizwal, and Swoopin, most of those goals that I've been seeing Los Hombres scoring, it was just one good challenge that Los Hombres have made, then caught the rotation of the Drifters unawares. Last player who tries to go on the offense, and then his movement just get completely crossed out as a good 50-50, a good pinch from Los Hombres just deletes the defense. There's no defensive line. The defensive line is killed by one of those plays. They need to be careful with that, and I feel like for both teams, the two biggest weapons still remain: backboard plays, 1, 2, 3, or the infield passes. Both of the teams have been utilizing that to their advantage. Both of them know how to do this, but not exactly know how to counter every single one of them. So the team that can really master that defensive approach that I feel like is going to be the winner in this series. Right now, though, the Los Hombres de Paco put themselves in a pretty good position with that match ball.
And I feel just in general as well. I mean, of course, we're having questions about Nachitao's decision. I bet Nachitao probably could have walked onto a number of different rival series rosters. He's chosen to go with two of his friends, and I think that this experiment is working, irrespective of what the final result is. Ultimately, it's a great start for Drifters, swooping, pouncing on that, and making sure that their team gets an early first goal yet again. Very close to their first goal in game number 3, though, and they went on to lose that one. And Demensa's instantly going to respond back. It's a tie game within the first 20 seconds. Mulligan, we start over.
Folks, if you have been late for the start of this game, don't worry. You have not missed much. It's equal, almost like a 0-0, with the only difference is that goals just keep on coming. No stopping. This is nice to see such a free game, but at this point I'm also seeing, okay, the defense is a little bit iffy. We've seen Nachitao miss his read on the wall, and then not seeing a swooping was crashing. And we have seen just your standard kickoff situation. You have a player cheating up, and when you're all of a sudden losing that player who hasn't done anything, you can't do anything. I'm pretty sure he was assisted on that one. No, the ball has an orange trail. So it must have been all swooping, pushing that to the side. Seeing it again? Nope. Just a good all positioning underneath, through the eye of the needle for that one.
Swoopin is carrying his team at the moment. Not the most fancy of goals, but the smarter goals coming through. Quick play and smart play, ensuring that his team retake the lead. And while we talk about the experiment of Los Hombres, if it doesn't work, okay, it doesn't matter too much. You can still find new teams. There is still time before the next rival series play in, but I think there's a lot more to lose for the Drifters here. This is a team that failed in the rival series last season. They've lost Yukis. They've brought in Kokar. And serious questions do have to be asked if they are to lose against a fresh roster, a new roster, irrespective of how much time they have played in ranked or casually. Kia Monster and swooping challenge. Demensa supporting his teammate, gets the ball into the orange half, but Ritual only going to get it as far as Kia Monster, leaves it to Kokar, who gets the second touch, and that's an awkward one. Nachitao caught out of position. Demensa flies in immediately. Great awareness from him, and straight into the counter-attack. Soft down to Kia Monster. Actually, I think Kia probably missed his shot because it comes off as a Demensa shot. Either way, it doesn't come through, and Nachitao closing down that midfield passing play, looking to get something going once again. Good pressure once again from Los Hombres, and Demensa, not for the first time today, rattles the crossbar. Too much stank, Mr. Jam. You gotta be subtle sometimes.
I would have gone with too much mustard, but too much stank also describes exactly how much power Demensa put with in front of his Dominus. Goal at his mercy only. Ooh, look at that. Well,
That's
maybe not on the first
what?
try. If it doesn't work on the first try, you go and try again. Passes. It's what's currently really discerning what the side of Los Hombres is doing. They're looking for each other. And Demensa felt like this is his time to shine. He stayed in the attack, staying in that corner, and he knew that he could follow up Nachitao pass, and that's exactly what he has done. Even Stevens, we just can't separate those two teams.
They score, they pull one back. They score, they pull one back. Sounds a lot like my adult responsibilities in life. The more you get squared away, the more that seems to keep popping up. Demensa taking it to his own backboard, but has plenty of boost to take this to the midfield. Lovely, calm, collected stuff from the bubble player. Visual does well to win that challenge over Nachat, however. Kier Monster does get the 100 boost. Not able to deceive Kokar, who passes it infield to swoop in! Off the crossbar! His placement's been beautiful so far. His luck had to run out at some point, or talent, whichever you choose to believe, and swoop in another great challenge, but nobody following through. I don't blame them either. This game's so close, and one overcommitment could spell the end of Drifter's upper bracket run. Nachatao.
Why that
again.
touch, though?
I don't know, honestly. I honestly don't know, but they have gotten away with it here. Kier Monster wins the challenge. Demensa up against Risual. Demensa! That's a much softer touch, isn't it? But it was too soft. And Kokar easily able to save and now tries to get his team out of their own half. But again, Nachatao lurking on that midfield line. We've seen this story before, Jam, and it doesn't end well for the Drifters.
Man, some of these touches, those extra touches that you just don't expect, changing the flow of the ball, catching the defense off guard. But by the amount of soft touches, the touches are getting softer and softer. We started on 2-ply, and we're getting like 3-ply, 4-ply. Some of them are so gentle, but I know exactly what they're trying to do with them. Just drop it as well as possible if you're a teammate. Right now, though, it's the other way. It's the sandpaper. Gritty, explosive, and most importantly, ready for anything. Los Hombres de Paco, too hard focused on the offense yet again. They're not out of this just yet. They still have one game on their balance, but they really did not want to give this away to their opponents who want this just as much as they do.
Visual gets the stat, but Kokar will get all the credit. Great demo. Solid goal, lead re-established, and not a lot of time for Los Hombres to find a response. 30 seconds remain. This is going to fall to Swoopin, who, I mean, to be fair, he got bumped out the play, but look at Visual coming in. There's two players going for this, and, well, Kokar, we're just going to say that you wanted to deceive the defense. We'll scratch it off as a goal. Kier Monster challenged by Swoopin, who's been a standout player, I would say, in game number 4. Really helped his team just earn some earliest dominance, and ultimately that one goal at the end is going to be the one that proves the difference. Kokar to thank for that one, and Kokar to thank for us going to game 5. Anybody's game. The shots dried up, Jam, but the scoreline was as similar as it's ever been. Who's going to come out on top? I honestly couldn't tell. I couldn't tell you.
Well, both of us have predicted the Drifters at the start of this one. You said this is going to go to 5. It is going to 5. And most importantly, we have a variety of players coming through. So far, 4 games, 4 different MVPs. They have been just switching all around. We had Demensa. We, of course, have Visual. We had Nachito previously, now with Swoopin. Everyone steps up to the plate, and again, sometimes it's those offensive players, those who scoring goals, but sometimes it's the player who have distinguished themselves in defense, in assists. This time, it is a little bit more offensive, and you can see that there has been a little bit of lacking from Kier Monster, who hasn't really been able to get himself going in this game. Donuts all across the board, but I wouldn't be surprised if for this final game, all of a sudden, he steps up, and he's going to be the one who's going to carry Drifters to that victory.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on chat as well. So it was the interesting prospect where you have 3 rival series players, essentially Baguette squad from last season, minus UKIS plus Kokar, up against RLCS experience in Nachatao, but 2 bubble players. Demensa we know a lot more about, and I think he's lived up to the hype. He's had some lucky moments, he's had some unlucky moments, but he's shown a lot of great individual skill. I think he's brought a lot to this roster. And Kier Monster, after flying out the gates in game number 1, he has gone a little bit MIA, the pace of the game a little bit too much for him. And I feel as if he's going to be relying on his 2 teammates in this particular scenario, not to carry him necessarily, but to do a lot of the heavy work, because going on board with him, watching him play, he wants to be on the end of things. He's not that great in the midfield, and he was a bit of a non-presence in defense as well, minus that one almost save that he had in game number 2, when of course Kokar got that launch downfield from an overcommitment on the side of Los Hombres. Game number 5. Not for all the marbles just yet. Of course, if you lose this, then you're down into the losers bracket, so still time to save your campaign as you attempt to qualify for the European Spring Series. But you want to get those winning runs going. You want the momentum in your favor. It is a word that I have used many a time in the past year and a half of casting Rocket League, and it's a word which I'm going to continue using time and time again. It has been proven to be a mighty factor in helping teams succeed, or indeed not succeed. And Swoopin looking to continue his good form. Great place shot. Here Monster with the save. Visual lurking as Dementor only able to get as far as Swoopin once again. Kier Monster coming through on the rotation. Gets the pinch as well past Kokar. Relief as they're able to put some pressure on themselves.
Zero boost and a dream. Well, Kier had a dream. We'll set it up for someone, but I can completely understand while the Nachitao, the last player for the side of Los Hombres, was not going for it. It was just too dangerous. They have been aggressive. How about a double tap? Yes, he will not get it. Risual, you just stole a perfect goal. Dirty, absolutely dirty. Here it is. At least some respite for that, because that was a beaut. Nachitao will take the credit, but this should have been Kier Monster's goal.
And you can see Kokar there, he was shadowing Swoopin. Ultimately realized his mistake, doubled back, but by that point, Nachitao had won the challenge. And although the angle was tight, it wasn't tight enough for the Drifters. Advantage, Hombres. And now for the Drifters, in all too familiar a position now. A losing one, and one where they're at risk of losing the series altogether. Round the corner, Swoopin, Dementor up high, and Nachitao from the wall. Able to help that towards the backboard. Kier Monster, the chip, and Dementor he almost caught out Swoopin, not for the first time today. Whether it would have hit the crossbar again today, who's to say, of course, but with 3 minutes left, Los Hombres still looking good. Swoopin's all on his own! Kier Monster! I don't know whether, or I don't know how aware Swoopin was of this potential pump play jam. It ultimately didn't come through. Dementor's got another goal, and daylight for Los Hombres.
He did a quick peek behind him to see where he's positioned and whether somebody is actually going from the backboard to bump him. Didn't see the information he needed in the end, couldn't reach it anyway, and this time you could see Rizal immediately going for the ball straight off the kickoff, but the lack of boost did not allow him to reach anything. Dementor, what about another touch? They are crashing that net, and right now they're playing without fear. Third goal would really set this off for Los Hombres, and even with the time remaining would mean that the Drifters would have to fight extra hard, most likely commit even more mistakes, go extra aggressively because they just need to. And for that, Los Hombres would be able to punish them. Look at that, they're stuck in their own side right now, and everything that they do is just slowly moves the ball forward, uses too much boost, and Drifters are just getting stuck in their own half as Los Hombres come in fresh, full of boost, and ready to stop anything that Drifters are starting.
Again, Swoopin is a heavy touch, and one that Dementor has been preying on all series. Really fast player, this one. And I'm excited in general by Los Hombres, of course. It's hard to judge this ex-Baguette Squad roster, since there's a new player in Kokar. But one thing is for certain, Jam, is that they were in the rival series last season. Kokar included, albeit on a different team. I realise my voice cracked, we'll all laugh about it later. And you know what? Los Hombres are 3-0 or 3-0ing them in Game 5 in a high-pressure situation which sees them continue their upper bracket run. I think that the experiment is a success. I think that rival series play-ins should be looking forward to these guys, and I guess for other teams, watching out for these guys, because they are looking solid. Kier Monster, yes, he has some areas in which he needs to catch up, but Dementor is graduating from the bubble scene with flying colors.
It is looking great, but the fact is, the whole bracket right now is somebody you should be looking out for. Pick a team, any team. The one that perhaps you haven't heard about, and follow their path. We already had some upsets, we're going to talk about them just a moment later, as this game is going to finish. But the fact is, these are some of the best of the best. Some of them won't make it that far. Some of them are just old names trying to get back to the good old golden days. But some of them are some of the teams that you're definitely going to see next rival season time. Baguette Squad, they will try for that, or ex-Baguette Squad in any case. Right now, the Drifters, they might not be the ones who will make it because there's so much young talent currently on the scene trying to make their name. I have a couple of names myself, and I'm looking forward to what the season is going to bring. But first, we need to deal with this. And what this is a 4-0. And this is a lack of momentum. Momentum within one game rather than momentum in the series, because this has been a seesaw, our league. First, we had Los Hombres win. Then it went to Drifters. Los Hombres again. Drifters took it back 2-2. Actually, yeah, I'm not telling a lie. My numbers are correct. And now it's a 4-0. But that's the curse of the 5th game. And seemingly, with this Nutcracker, it is going in favor of Los Hombres.
There are certainly some question marks over whether Ben, who filled in for Yukis at the end of last season of Rival Series, whether he'd get the nod. Keep in mind, the Get Squad almost beat RCD Espanyol on that final day of the season. And I don't know. Like, there are some positive signs here. It looks better than the Baguette Squad, which I saw throughout the most of Rival Series. But they've been beaten by a new roster. And in game number 5, comfortably so. That assist was going to be confidence boosting for Kier Monster. That goal is going to help soothe things over after a troublesome middle part of the series. It's a hat-trick for Demenza, and Nachitao is surely going to be smiling from ear to ear. That is a victory over an ex-Rival Series squad. They continue their upper bracket run. This is probably not the last you will have heard from Los Hombres de Paco.
And I'm pretty sure Demenza will be happy with his performance. He bookended this whole series, starting as the best player, although there were 2 players on that side who really performed well in game number 1, and now finishing it in style, that last goal. By that point, you could see the Drifters just, their head was in a completely different place. They will be going into the lower bracket, as their run potentially will continue. Los Hombres de Paco will be playing against an even bigger fish. Their next opponent is Team Singularity. And that actually happens to be our very next game on the stream. Arlie, do you feel like this is the moment where they take the momentum and run, or whether Singularity with Magnus is just too much to take?
That's a good question. I think that it's a different scenario, honestly, where you've got Rival Series Singularity still very definitively an RLCS team. And I feel that Magnus, out of that entire ex-TSM roster, Magnus, the classic case of keeps on getting relegated, but keeps on finding himself back in the RLCS, doing very much what his old teammate a lot used to do, in just about surviving. But I like him. I still think he's a good midfield presence. I just don't think he's had the right materials around him to do good things. I think that it's going to be a step too far for Los Hombres, but I still think that they're a squad that's got a bright future ahead of them. Is it a bright future that we're going to discuss perhaps in part with Craftman as we bring him back into the story? Because honestly, I feel like Kier Monster, like I say, he's still got some distance to go, I think, before he catches up to the skill level of his 2 teammates. But, let's stop comparing them to RLCS level, which is where Nachitao was, and let's compare them to Rival Series. That's what they were up against, and ultimately they did come out with a win over 5 games too, so there's some good character there.
Yeah, and against, like you said, against the Rival Series team who really had a miserable season. Let's not lie about it. It was 0-9. It's a write-off. But for me, watching that game, or watching that series rather, for me, the question I was asking myself was, is this the same old Baguette squad, just with a new lick of paint with Coca? Absolutely not. I think this is a upgraded Baguette squad. You're getting so much out of Coca, but there are still some downsides. I mean, Swippen, I saw him hesitating a lot throughout that series, especially in that last game. He just didn't seem too confident on backboard in defense, in my opinion. But like you said, I think Los Hombres de Paco, they're going to be one of the teams to watch, not just in the spring series, but like you said, in the Rival Series playing as well. And for me, Demenza, my oh my kid, he scores some bangers of goals, but he just needs to put the basic ones in. I mean, I think 3 times he had an open net and chipped it high off the backboard. I think it was ridiculous. Like, he had easy goals, but he just couldn't put them in. But then he comes and scores some weird backboard touch off the wall like that. I'm excited to see what they're going to do throughout the rest of this bracket, and of course, Jam, as you said, they're going to be taking on Singularity. we were going to see another game, but I think that has already started. It was going to be AS Monaco versus. But after this short break, we are going to see Team Singularity versus Los Hombres de Paco. Do not go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back after this.
I do.
welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to Rocket Kingdom TV. You're watching the Rocket League summer series, spring series. It's not summer yet. It's
wishing time away.
I mean, it's 19 degrees outside right now, which is a rarity in Glasgow, so it does feel like summer already. Grafman, Irelic, and Jar of Jam here with you to take you through the first half of today's action. And the next round that we have up is the winners round number 2, and we're going to see Team Singularity taking on the team who we just seen knocked down to the lower bracket, the Drifters, in Los Hombres de Paco. So, Jam, I'll come to you first on Singularity, because we've seen Los Hombres already. This is a new look Singularity coming in from the last season of RLCS.
Well, the fact is, Singularity without Gutsmilla and with Magnus might be just the thing that they needed. At very least, they needed something instead of Gutsmilla. Obviously, my heart breaks for a player of his caliber that he has been removed from the team, but the numbers don't lie. He has some of the worst stats in the league during his season, so something had to give. Nolian, though, has performed valiantly, and they managed to get the team where it ended up in the season eventually, but Gutsmilla just was not pulling his weight. And now with Magnus, a really experienced player, trying to get back, trying to find a team where he might be a good fit after TSM just sank down like Titanic, this could be a good option.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you mentioned TSM with Magnus, and of course, we'll mention Metanoris as well, who joined Team Endpoint, who we could potentially see a little bit later on today. But Irelic, how do you think Magnus is going to set into this team? And as we're getting into this game, actually, we'll get this one going. But Irelic, I want your thoughts about Magnus in this team and how he's going to fit in with Singularity.
Yeah, well, let's get into the match, shall we? As I'm carrying my thoughts over, I guess. I think that Magnus is a player which has not really had the tools around him to live up to his biggest potential. Out of that entire TSM roster, I think, once again, he was the player who really was the best of a bad lot. Of course, I think he's got the rather unceremonious honor of being the player that's been technically relegated the most times from the RLCS, and yet every single time he's been able to find a team to get back onto and survive. I think deservedly so. I've always rated Magnus. Excellent midfield presence, bit of experience to throw in there. I think Team Singularity a little bit too happy to announce that Gutsmilla was released from the roster. But ultimately, I think it's a solid pickup. And I hope they're going to do well. I mean, we have to remember that this is a Team Singularity that last season with Gutsmilla beat Renault Vitality, who ended up winning the league. So there's definitely some talent there, Jam.
It has been a glorious day for Team Singularity. Renault Vitality, wow, something crazy. But then we've seen some crazier things happen. The Team Vertex roster we've been mentioning previously. Not only, he cannot repeat the same thing we've seen. I do believe that was Demensa reading that perfect role. Here was just a little bit of a bounce. But we've seen small fish kill the bigger one in the rival series. And LCS, it also happens Magnus now tries to showcase something of his own. So far, doesn't look out of place. I want to see how he fits into rotations. Good news, though, is about a lot of these roster shuffles is the fact that majority of them were planned and announced pretty early. And as such, most of these players have had plenty of time to try to figure out what their place in the team is, how they're going to play with their new teammates. And hopefully, we could see Singularity use Magnus to his fullest potential.
And of course, we've got to at least give Los Hombres some reason to be hopeful. It sounds like it's going to be a tough ask against Singularity, which it is, but we've got to keep in mind that go back 2 seasons and, well, Team Singularity was Flompresant, and Flompresant was a rival series team. And so Team Singularity really have done well to survive their first season in the RCS. What a save from Kier Monster there, one for the cameras, as Demensa takes it into the midfield. And so even though this on paper looks like a giant killing potential, game in the making, series in the making, we have to remember that Los Hombres, they really are striving to become a rival series team, and while Singularity, perhaps not the finished article in terms of RLCS quality just yet. We've reached half-time, Jam, and there is no goal to show, I think, further really evidencing just how close these two teams actually are.
Oh, this could be separate, but Demensa pops it just enough to take it away from the side of Singularity, making sure that nobody, even with their approach careful, calculated, they cannot take a shot on target. Solid pass. Demensa constantly rushing back. He's usually that first player out, trying to make a rotation, trying to be up front, making something, but every single time he's forced to return back, and now finally the pass catches this Los Hombres unawares. Defense too open, nobody challenging Noli. You could see the Mensa Nashito rotating back, but at that point they were just statused in that shot as Noli puts it on target as he has done so many times before.
Barry Scott needs to come out and say bang, and the dirt is gone. Could not have gotten a cleaner pass from Magnus. And what about that placement? Beautiful opening goal for Team Singularity. And now it's just a case of holding on, of course. It's very much, I guess in many ways, a typical Team Singularity performance. They were hardly the most prolific of teams. And if you look at where their goals have come from, well, all 3 of those players from last season in the RLCS featured in the bottom 10 of assisters. Plenty of assisted goals this time, though. And speaking of, though, ultimately it was a rather fortuitous second touch here from Demensa that gives it the power to get over to Nolly. But again, another lovely place shot. And that is a 2-0 lead with 90 seconds left.
It seems like Los Hombres are currently lagging behind what Team Singularity is throwing. They're trying to react, they're trying to read the plays, and they have the gist of what's happening. But the problem is, Singularity are pulling out these plays just a tad more faster than they can do it. Speak of a devil, though, here Monster, someone has been lacking in the previous series, and yet still managed to help this team win, scoring this opener. Noli, good positioning for him, expecting to play to continue on the backboard, or at the very least try to clear any of the shots that might be coming there. Together with his teammate, we're not able to clear this solid pass. We are getting some solid looks from both of the sides. For now, though, it still does look like Singularity has a bit of a better idea what we can do. Another curse of the caster? Not yet, but just look how aggressive all of a sudden the Los Hombres are.
And what a transition, though. You can see here the play developing. Demensa was trying to suss out Nolly. He did. But what Nolly did so well here, and this is what gives him that RLCS quality, is he kept on running. He knew that that ball was going to fall into one of his teammates' front bumpers. The Hail Mary from downfield comes from Though, and once again, another beautifully placed shot. And that is once again a 2-goal lead for Singularity. Like a loyal dog at the moment, I think Los Hombres are, like clawing onto their owner's ankles, trying to keep up with them. But Singularity showing tenacity and some real calmness, really flexing their muscles. And with Magnus on board, they are looking properly good. Not prolific, but really strong in the midfield. Although that said, that was an open net. That was an open net for Nachitao.
Just for a moment. But it's nice to see a team that is so confident in their own moves, who can pull out plays like that as if it is their second nature. And we saw just that from that last play as Noli banked his hat-trick, making sure that the Team Singularity stays up by 2. And chances are our league, it's gonna stay there up by 2. What they have done is just clean game. Though, we'll get one for the road. Perhaps he has not expected it. And he definitely makes the clear known. Good setup. Good everything, but at this point it won't matter. We know exactly who's going to win this one, but we know that this is Singularity slowly flexing their muscles, but you know that there's more. There's definitely more to come. And Los Hombres de Paco, with this situation, are they up against it? This might be a quick 3-0, just from the fact that Though and Noli, well-oiled machine, and Magnus, so far, has not spoiled his broth.
No, indeed. In fact, I'd say the broth has gained a new flavor and is rather tasty indeed. 11 shots on target for Singularity. That was a rarity for them in RLCS to get over 10 shots. As I say, all of their games super close. And they weren't a team that was necessarily beaten over their head and left for dead, because you look at all of those series that they went through in RLCS Season 9, there was only one series where they didn't pick up at least one game, and that was against Veloce. Veloce, the only team to 3-0 sweep them. So, honestly, you've got Los Hombres here almost trying to emulate what Singularity was last season. They keep themselves in the game, they keep it close. But ultimately, we just saw a masterclass from Singularity in passing plays and in counterattacks, and making sure that the transition plays weren't giving up possession. It was cold, it was calculated, it was clean, and I would be worried if I was Los Hombres, because that chuck everything against the opponent, try and get a high pressure situation, like a pressure cooker situation going where ultimately mistakes will happen in the Singularity defense. I can't think they can afford to do that, because if they do give up possession, if there's one wayward pass, then we know that this Singularity roster is more than likely going to score a goal off it.
We saw exactly how big the price of a mistake or price of aggression was against the Drifters. And right here, it's twofold. Los Hombres need to know that whatever they have been lacking in the previous game, in this game, it's going to hurt them even more. Singularity will be ready to pounce on any of these. Still, the fact is that in the games such as this one, especially when we are supposed to be impartial, as the caster should be, it's always nice to root for the underdog, for the little guy. And I'm still hoping to see that Los Hombres continue on what they've started in their previous series against the Drifters.
There's that question which I was asked many a time in the lead up to the EU Spring Series, actually, was which underdog team do you think is going to do well? And of course that quantifies as well, what do you say is an underdog team? Like RS, is it going to be a bubble team? And I think Los Hombres are very quickly stealing my heart at this point as well, Jam. There's something about them which, I was saying it just before the break, there's a bright future, I think, for a lot of these players, if not in this form, in this roster. Although I would hope they continue with this roster, they certainly look good. Then each individually, and we know from the likes of Nechatel that, you know, ultimately he was an RLCS player last season on Endpoint. And so he's essentially taken the route of going out of the league entirely, creating a roster centered around him. And I think that's the right choice for him. As long as you're comfortable, then that's when you're going to be playing best. And playing well once again in these opening stages, Jam, closing in on the 3-minute mark, still no goal to break through for either team.
It's careful play from both sides. You could see Los Hombres trying to pressure Singularity in their own half, taking their boost, but the patience, the experience on the side of Singularity was seen. No hasty moves. They let the side of Los Hombres just do something first, and they're going to react. They're already set up in the defense perfectly, ready to jump at them at any moment. Well, this attack might potentially break down. I don't think there's a follow-up. Here, this could have been even a pass from Los Hombres to Singularity, who once again been waiting, but you know that at any point their players are ready to just jump straight at that opportunity and create a moment. And look at that, another challenge in which Los Hombres were just attacked too late, and Tho has beaten yet another player of the blue side to the punch.
That was another nice infield pass to Tho. Nechatel on the way. Here he comes again, off the backboard, and I thought that was going to be a miss from Tho. He does get a touch on it, which is better than nothing, and Nolly, again, like a heat-seeking missile, seeks out his teammate. Magnus up high, tries to drop it down, but easily read by Nechatel. Tho, for the first time today, is going to go high. Nolly will again throw it up there. Tho helps it on. Back to Nolly, who misses along with Kier Monster. That's a wayward clearance. And Dementor on hand to chuck it to the back, or to the side wall rather, over to Kier Monster, over to Nechatel, over to Kier Monster again. Magnus lying in wait though, saw that developing, set himself up, and was ready and waiting to receive the play. Less than 90 seconds left, and still donuts across the scoreboard.
It seems like both teams just know exactly what the other one is going to do. No surprises. Set plays that every single one of them knows exactly how it's going to go. And despite Singularity winning a lot of challenges, it still hasn't helped them that much. Yes, they have more shots on target than Los Hombres do. Los Hombres so far haven't even credited one. But it's still not get them the goal, and the goal is the most important bit. If Los Hombres can just score one in the winning minute of the play, then that's all that they need to take. And this was close. This was even closer. Squeeze that past Magnus Demensa. That's exactly what your team has been needing all this time. It just broke down. That defense just got open a tad too much. That usual style of play, just your boring rotation back and forth, got broken down. That's where the defense of Singularity cracked.
Yeah, I thought you were lying, Jam, before I took a look for myself. That was their first shot on target, and it's led to a goal. And you got to feel bad for Magnus. He was dismounting off the backboard, and that awkward lip just caught him, and it just ruined his momentum ever so much. What a pass back from Though to find Magnus. Demensa with the save. And 30 seconds, the better part of for Los Hombres to survive and to get a point on the board for themselves in this series. Demensa with no boost, making a nuisance of himself. Oh, wow, all 3 players were there? Mental from Los Hombres. Potential opening chance here for Singularity shut down as everyone scrambled back into defensive positions. And Though, he's going to get the chip up. Not much boost to work with. Magnus going for the audacious effort, but Demensa, as he has been doing all day long, closes him down. Though, oh, he's going to get it on target, and he's going to score the buzzer beater. What a shame for Los Hombres.
I'm watching Cure Monster, not enough boost. Everything that he had, he's already used, and he could not reach it. Clawing that loss from the teeth of Los Hombres, our team Singularity. And right now they need to step up. This has been a slap to their face. Might be another one. Could be another one as Demensa come crashing down an initial play of Cure Monster. The speed, if this speed keeps up like that, I feel like this benefits Singularity. That's what they have been lacking in regulation. The pace at which they have been attacking the net of Los Hombres, or at the very least, the intensity, the continuation. It was just not enough of both, and that allowed Los Hombres every single time to stave off whatever Singularity have been throwing at them.
And if you are Los Hombres, the last thing that you want to do is our LCS team to overtime. As these guys have had that experience in bucket loads. Demensa takes it off the hands of Nolly. The challenge won, and Magnus forces it over to Demensa. Closed down immediately. Nolly on his own. Nollistic towards the net, and Kier Monster with the save. Though, down to Nolly again. It's a chip, and Nachitao pinches it off his own crossbar. Not as well as he would have liked, I believe. But he's still able to get it over to the side. Demensa straight into the hands of Though once again. Backboard. Kier Monster with the clearance. Magnus stops it at the mid. Got a bit of boost to work with. Sees Nollistic infield. Demensa closes down once again. His team are being... Well, they got to be thankful to him. But ultimately, Jam, they only denied the inevitable. Though with the goal. And it's match point for Singularity.
The heat has been turned up in the kitchen so much that even with that demo, that has been just a final blow to the side of Los Hombres. It was too much. Finally, you could see Team Singularity put their foot on the gas pedal and never let go. And you could immediately see the longer it went, the less confident Los Hombres looked in the defense, the less players there were, and that one shot, and well, 2 shots technically, and 1 goal that got the side of Los Hombres to this point counted for nothing, because what Team Singularity did, exactly what we expected from them, from their level of play, unrelentless, pressure, non-stop rotations, never going past the midfield line, and in the end, it just breaks down the team that previously has been lulled in a false sense of, all right, this game is going to be slow, we'll be able to defend positionally, well, then start an attack positionally. Nothing is, oh my goodness, why, how? That's how the overtime went for Singularity, no stop.
It would have been a mugging if Los Hombres had won in regulation time. 1 shot on target the entire game. Bit fortuitous with how the ball ended up at the hands of Demensa. But if you look at the 5 minutes overall, if you look at overtime especially included, I mean, Singularity were in control the entire time, 3 shots apiece. And okay, they were maybe as prolific in front of net as they were in game number 1, but in terms of actually fashioning those chances and controlling the midfield, you have to put tick marks in both of those boxes. They were doing absolutely fine. And now they're in an even finer position, Jam, because if they win this game, then that's game over for Los Hombres, at least in the upper bracket. Demensa looking to get things started with an early goal, forces Nollistic into a save. And another great challenge win from Demensa, forces a double commit from Nolly and Magnus. But look at this! Look at Though carrying it towards the net, and Demensa has been monumental in this series. What a save! Fast and Furious, eat your heart out. What an opening 20 seconds this has been.
Not to Noli, not to though. What are you doing? I understand that Kier Monster had to just play with whatever he got, but in that hurry, he has cleared it straight to Team Singularity. But when it comes to 1v1s, I gotta give it to Los Hombres. They have been reading every single attempt on the side of Team Singularity. Even this ground pinch was read. Nachitao, you are doing some fantastic work right now for your new roster. It is working out well. No Doomsday Dish. But man, if we wanted a high-paced game, this game number 3 is exactly what we have expected.
And Realistic is probably going to be wondering how on earth he hasn't had a goal already. Denied by some absolutely gargantuan defensive maneuvers. Most of these coming through. Dementor, who is taken out for his troubles. Great challenge rim from Kier Monster. And Magnus is going to keep this up high, although Nachitao is going to throw it back into the orange half. Those there to meet it. Double commit. Kier Monster calling off his, I would assume, captain. I don't know what the structure of the team is, but you got to go with the RCS experience, surely. And Singularity continuing to apply the pressure. Magnus is going to be kept off as Dementor almost able to help it over the top of though, but the challenge comes in just about. Kier Monster now, limited boost, is going to be left off to Nihilistic, who brings it back into the midfield. Again, it's the same rinse and repeat situation that we've had in the last 2 games, Jam, where we get to the 3-minute mark and Los Hombres, okay, they're maybe not looking like the team in ascendancy, but they're at least keeping the score down to 0-0. They need that bit of luck once again, I fear though. Otherwise, Singularity, again, a question of when rather than if in terms of scoring.
It's hard to build up your bracket run when you always have to rely on luck, on some mistakes, because so far, Team Singularity has been incredibly good at keeping side of Los Hombres at bay, at their own half. They're still getting those attacks, but shots are not coming. They're closing down any avenues of opportunity that Los Hombres can have. Attempts that they're making are looking good, but then you see that Team Singularity always reads them, always there first. Seeming like to beat Team Singularity, Los Hombres not only have to wake up late, then seem like they wake up early, rather. They don't even have, they can't even go to sleep at all to beat Team Singularity to majority of these challenges.
I can hear Evanescence in the background. Maybe it's not that dire a situation just yet. But something needs to wake up inside all of these players, certainly. We need to find a second level. Magnus, a cute angle for though, and didn't register as a save for Dementor, but you can bet your butts it was. Because that was a certain goal had his car not been in the way. 90 seconds left. Nolly. And Dementor reads him, throws in the right place at the right time to get that save down. And that's just off the top of the ceiling. Magnus required to loft that above his own crossbar. And it should be left to Kier Monster, though, again, so quick to the ball. 100 boost. Nachitao, though, going to get the second touch infield, but a little bit too much on that. And Kier Monster away once again.
Good prolonged attacks from the side of Los Hombres might finally test the defense of Team Singularity, but it wasn't enough. And the longer they stay there, if they decide to take a risk, then they're risking that a counterattack will start and they will have to be forced back without any boost, rushing to make a save. And those just-in-time saves, they're nice, they look well. It's just the problem is you can't always rely on them. That cannot be your playstyle, just like it can be relying on luck, relying on one good goal. Scoreline is 0-0, but it's without question which team has been in control, which team has looking more threatening. Although, so far, they have been denied in this game number 3. Scorelines throughout the series have been going down and down. By the looks of it, our league, this game will only be decided by 1, and Los Hombres are still in the running.
And believe you me, chat, I am keeping an eye on the bracket. I am aware that there have been some rather spectacular results that have just come through. We're going to catch up with those after the conclusion of this particular series, which, as it stands right now, is actually looking to be one of the more sensible results of the day. Magnus, one last opportunity in regulation, almost got the zero-angle goal from up high, but we are going to OT for the second time in this series.
If I had to give someone the 0 angle goal, it should have been Team Singularity. They have been scoring a couple of those from unbelievable angles, and Magnus tries to get that second touch. Will they have enough players? They should have. And another attack by Team Singularity is staved off.
Gear Monster. Oh, though with the fake, and that's going to be open field for Nolly to Magnus. It's the bar. Nolly for the second time of asking, though, how on earth is this ball not ending up in the back of the net? Again, Los Hombres survive what was almost a certain finish situation, though, over the top of Dementor and Nachatao lying in wait on the backboard. Gear Monster was chasing that, he was shadowing him, and so the pressure remains. Singularity, and unbelievably, Gear Monster got another touch onto that ball, which sees it fly over to the other side, and Dementor picks up the 100 boost, helps it midfield. Dementor, and it's going to be into the hands of the defense as Nachatao ratchets up the offense for Los Hombres out to the midfield once again. Dementor backboard, Magnus to the corner. Is Dementor going to follow this? No, sussed out by Magnus, who gets it to the midfield. Gear Monster not able to get it past Magnus, the monster in midfield, though off the backboard, and Dementor out to midfield once more. Here comes Nolly now. Backboard, looks for the second touch, missing defense, open their opportunity, and Magnus and Gear Monster suss each other out, and the ball ends up in the corner once again.
A neutral play, and it continues. Singularity are not trying to stop, but for every single touch, a powerful shot, a slow chip up, a lot of change-ups coming in from the side of Team Singularity. There's always an answer from the side of Los Hombres. That's 10 saves in total already. The amount of shots is about to reach 15 on the side of Team Singularity, but they are surviving, and all they need is just one on both sides. This could be a drop down. Here.
Oh!
We both thought it should go in, but it doesn't. Perhaps this one, no, because Dementor is there, because Dementor is already past 5 saves, he's on 7, and it is not stopping. And the thing is, Team Singularity are getting antsy.
He's hired a construction outfit to build a wall. Dementor with an incredible defensive performances on his own. That is his 7th. Would you believe? What a performance from a breakout player. And Magnus here on the backboard going to pick up some form of possession for Singularity, which is rarely in their own half now. Dementor taking out Magnus in the offense. It allows everyone just to reset and calm down on Los Hombres, but Dementor has given up the ball there. Easy situation for Singularity to have yet another shot. I think at this point, Dementor just looking to pad his stats. That's save number 8. Nolistic. Dementor up high. It's going to be Nolly once again, but that's infield to Nachatao. Goes wide. It was a weak shot as well. Probably would have been saved irrespective. Gear Monster. Can he get some solo play going? No, it's left to Nolly. Booms downfield. Nachatao over to the corner. Good awareness. Dementor returns to sender. Though, finds Nolly surely in the offense, but a miss there. That was an open net. That could have been the breakthrough.
Arlik, I know you really wanted to see Monaco versus RJM, but if we had that series, we wouldn't have seen this. This is something else altogether. We're already on double digits for though. I don't know how he's keeping himself together because...
Bump! Oh! Gear Monster! We were waiting for something like that! Magnus waited, he was too late, and though was bullied in net. Los Hombres, stay alive, vamos!
It usually is a squishy muffins. Today we're gonna call it a Gear Monster.
12 shots!
9 saves. Everything about this game screamed Team Singularity. Has to be Team Singularity, though I'm pretty sure by this point he's swearing in Dutch. I don't know any Dutch swear words, especially I'm not going to see them on the broadcast, even if I knew them. But the fact is, so many attempts and so many denies, it is unheard of. But the fact is, it worked.
Oh my word.
It helped. It's crazy.
Dementor almost reaching 1,000 points, and he didn't score a goal. What? They didn't even reach 10 shots. They had 6. And Singularity notching up 21. So Singularity had triple the amount of shots, over triple the amount of shots. And yet Los Hombres, my word, what a performance. And that, friends, is the importance of defense. In a nutshell, there's your game if you have anyone saying, "Oh, I don't have to rotate into defense," show them this game, because Los Hombres have survived another day. Whether they're going to be able to beat them in game number 4, that's an entirely different matter. I imagine Singularity's probably going to be riled up by that. But regardless, they can say that they took a game off an RLCS team. The great experiment continues with great success.
This has the feeling of a little bit of how RCD Espanyol have been playing their previous season rival series. Despite them taking a pretty high position on the season board at the end of it, it was still all pretty close game 5s. Sometimes they almost didn't look like they were ready to win. They still managed to scramble them somehow. A little bit of that flavor I could see in Los Hombres right now, but it's even less chances, even less opportunities. And for now, they still need to survive in those small chances, those little opportunities, and that tremendous defense that is shutting down even some of the top players from the rival series.
So, is it going to be the rinse and repeat strategy once again, I wonder, from Los Hombres? They have not had a goal conceded in the first minute and a half. Until just then, Curse of the Commentator is like I was asking for it. That's the breakthrough for Singularity, and it's though, once again, Demensa left chasing shadows.
Too fast for the side of Los Hombres to return back, and here is the result. They know that they need to push forward, no question about that. They cannot win another game, most likely by just parking the bus and hoping for a miracle. Miracle is not going to come. They have to create their own luck. That's why they're so far up front. That's why they're still trying, because in the previous game they have been shut down. Lack of opportunities has really hurt their chances, and only by one small... Again, I can only call this as a miracle that they have been keeping up alive and won that game in the end. Here Monster doing some fantastic stuff, and they need him, and they get them yet again. Quick, swift movement. And just for Singularity, they know exactly what's going to come. You just can't react to it quickly. You see Magnus jumping for it, no time. And there was no player on the back post for Singularity to take a save either. 1-1. And Arlie, you've been talking about momentum. That's where momentum comes from that prolonged overtime, for that miracle in defense. That's how you get your team rolling and raving for the next game.
We see you, Subpar Army. Welcome to the fun. Kier Monster certainly not subpar, as things stand in good form in this tie game. If you're just joining us, this is Team Singularity versus Los Hombres de Paco, who were able to make their way past the ex-Baguette Squad roster of the Drifters, and are now looking to claim an RLCS scalp. That said, they're going to have to do it the reverse sweep way. They need to win this game and the next one in order to be in with a chance of saying that they can do it. Backboard, Magnus. Nolly, up high, Demo in net. Though, tries to help on for Magnus yet again, but the offense breaking down, getting a little too complicated, I fear, Jam. And Los Hombres there, caught out in midfield. Oh, it's off the post, and those going to go far side. Lead re-established just before halftime.
Good attempt at a save from the side of Paco, but Kier Monster goes to the wrong side and Natched out. One of them had to make that read off the backboard. In the end, neither of all of them bunched up in one corner, though sees the whole width of the net to shoot, and he chose bad. Bad? Good, is what I've been trying to say.
Two very different sides of the coin, but we all knew what you were trying to say, Jam. So, Kier Monster, what can he fashion up this time? The answer is he gives up possession rather easily. Nachatao closed down by Magnus. Kier Monster going to come in as the third. Got a bit of boost to work with off the top of the ceiling. Sees his teammates infield and goes for the bump instead. Demensa comes in, goes wide. Nachatao infield, looking for Kier Monster on the far side, but there were three players in between him and Kier. It was never going to reach him. And now Kier with no boost, but does well to bump Magnus out the play. Nolly comes through it all with the ball, and Demensa, good defense on his corner, though looking for the angle, and Nachatao going to safely bring it over to the other corner of this blue half, as it looks like I might have suffered a connection jam.
Unfortunately, it seems like we might have lost the connection to the server. We'll try to get everyone back in order. It's gonna be a little bit unfortunate for the teams right now. Of course, Team Singularity is currently in the lead. I would like to keep it that way for the side of Los Hombres. I'm not even sure if that's gonna help them really, but as it stands, this game has been a lot more even that we have just seen from the previous matchup, which was if you had to tell me that there's really only one team on that field in the previous matchup, I would have believed it, because that was Team Singularity show, and yet that show was stolen from them for Los Hombres with that overtime win. With that, I still can't get over just how many saves they have made and just how robbed Tho must have felt after after 11 or 12 double-digit number shots were denied from it.
9. I mean, ultimately, I think Demenza absolutely player of the game. I realize he didn't get the goal, and Kier Monster deserves all the plaudits for actually getting that goal to at least give them a game. But the amount of saves and the type of saves that Demenza was getting in particular shouldn't have been possible, and yet he proved that sometimes the impossible can be made. So of course we're going to look to rectify this connection issue as quickly as possible, waiting for a ruling from up top, waiting to get back into the game. In the meantime, let's give Los Hombres their due praise, Jam, because it seems like, at least when we last left them, looks like they're going to be heading down to the lower bracket. But if I was a lower bracket team, I would be scared to go up against them, because on the evidence of what we've seen today, rival series team in the making.
That's actually, let me quickly see exactly who they're being playing against, where they will be placed now that they're going down. If they will be going down, I'm counting my chickens way before they hatch. The fact is, despite what Team Singularity have shown us, we're still seeing a fight in Los Hombres, and they're not out of it just yet. Potentially, they will be playing against either MGA Esports or 2M1S. Some familiar names on both sides, but none that you perhaps might have heard. And still, our main point of attention right now is for this game, and of course for the upper bracket. And wowza. While we're getting that match set up for you, Arlie, would you like to talk a little bit about the upsets that have happened? Because we had a few.
Yes.
For example, Scrubkilla, Greasymeister, and Breezy are now down to the losers bracket after Canyons have defeated them, but it's perhaps not a surprise, because Canyons, it's Steak, Wolf, and Tux. You might have seen this team as RCD Espanol.
Was it Wolf or Zamway?
Wolf is also on that roster.
Okay. I've got my opinions on that whole Scrubkilla shenanigans. Until it becomes appropriate to talk about it, I'm going to keep my mouth zipped, but very interesting result, and goes to show that Scrubkilla isn't going to have his own way if he does choose to join that team. Of course, they'd have to qualify for the rival series anyway. They're not guaranteed a spot because We Dame Girls was relegated. So yeah, in the meantime, we're just going to be keeping an eye on these guys. But let's talk about some of the other upsets, shall we, that have been going on throughout this bracket. So I guess it's a shame for RJM that they weren't able to pick up at least one game against AS Monaco. They're actually going to be the opponents of whoever wins this series, and 3-0 sweeping with Cash on board, of course, replacing Tigray. Fascinating to see how that one's going to continue to go. I'm happy for Nameless. They've gone up against Endpoint. I was quite interested in seeing this roster. They 3-2 won against Venatio. Two teams. So Nameless, of course. Let me get the official squad guys for you. The official squad guys. Going New Jersey with my words here. There we go. So of course, Rix Ronde, Dumaine, previously of Vertex, and Ocelon, who you might remember from Underwater Squad 2 seasons ago in the rival series. I think that's a super solid squad to get them at least to rival series. And again, taking a point off Endpoint, who themselves just about survived in the RLCS for another season. That's pretty good. They're actually facing up against Team BDS as we speak. So fascinating to see who comes out of that one. Apart from that, I don't really think there's been too many others. I guess actually didn't see this one. Oxygen Esports, ex-Team Reciprocity, losing to Magnifico. I mean, talk about a bizarre result. It looks like we're going to be back into the game now. Yes, we are. We're going to be getting back into game number 3. Oh, sorry, game number 4, I should say, rather, with Team Singularity versus Los Hombres. So we'll pick up on that Oxygen point when we get back to Crafters. But right now, Jam, we've got... I wouldn't say administration to finish, because like you say, Los Hombres still with a goal to get, but it is only one goal, of course, which is in 90 seconds. Well, it's very easy to attain.
And here they are on the offense trying to create something. You would expect a little bit more cohesion perhaps with their passing plays at this point. But this break might have been a little bit less detrimental than they would have hoped for. Still, for this point, for the remaining 70 seconds, it needs to be all offense, all out, but with some thought behind it, because the moment they just start bim-bamming it, I'm pretty sure that's where the Team Singularity would stomp their foot down and say enough.
And just like that, 90 seconds has become 60. And Kier Monster being closed down in midfield. Double commit here, although it ends up being an infield pass that almost goes into the net. Demensa requires a save from Magnus. Oh, it's a soft double commit shot as well. Nachatao coming around again and bumps in there. Oh, it's a traitorous action. Magnus did well to get that save. He did well to get that save, but then Nolly behind him bumps him out of position, and it is a tight game. Los Hombres determined to take it to Game 5 yet again.
This is the first time almost we see Team Singularity really dropping the ball in their own defense, unable to make a good clear initially, and then getting stuck, losing the boost. Rotation from Los Hombres was on point, while on the side of Singularity, that was panicked. Nolly, that was his play to take anyway, so even with a bump, he should have been able to get that, but lack of boost and a little bit of haphazard play has led him to this point as once again, the unexpected team, they're looking for the third Our League. As the timer runs down, another overtime possibility from both of these teams and another attempt for Los Hombres to steal this win away from the side of Team Singularity.
Well, ball still hasn't touched the ground, by the way, and until it does, we're going to remain in regulation, though, with the pop. And great closing down from Kier Monster. Demensa was trying to get another touch in there. Another overtime. Are we going to be seeing another win for Los Hombres? Just a few minutes ago, there I was saying this is one of the more sensible results. Is today a day for sensibility? The answer is maybe. Just about get away with it, Los Hombres, but look, Singularity, if you're in their shoes, you're going to start sweating, because think about how many shots you all had in that overtime just 5 minutes ago, and how much you didn't score them, and how much you ended up losing that game by.
Just one. It's all that it takes. And right now, they're looking exactly for that. A lot of space is given to Los Hombres in the defense. You see that Singularity does take it in the end. That space was only a false sense of security for the side of Los Hombres. They came back, full boost, full tanks of boost, brilliant idea of what they were able to do, and they just crashed that net down. I think it's only symbolic, Our League, that the winner for the whole series is scored by Magnus, the player new for the team. Now that the XDSM is no more, Karen is no more, and Singularity is looking for another player, as Gutsmill has been deemed not up to par for this team.
Well, Magnus, if you're going to try and re-establish your credentials, the Spring Series probably a good place to try and do it. And honestly, I think Singularity looking the better for bringing Magnus in. Yes, they did drop a game to Les Hombres, but let's be real with ourselves here. There's not many situations where you're going to have a team that mounts up over 20 shots on target and doesn't score any of them. That was all down to the amazing defensive performance of Demensa. That was all down to the incredible solo play of Kier Monster. There's a good team in the making there. They dropped down to the lower bracket. I would not be surprised to see them in Rival Series in Season 10 of the RLCS. Mr. Craftman. Singularity progresses in the upper bracket, though, and they are going to be meeting a team that has just recently become a Rival Series team once again in AS Monaco, but minus Tigray and plus cash.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, and I think we're going to see that game next on stream as well. But just to round off that series, if you take Game 3 in a bubble, 0-0 overtime, as long as it went on, I think it was at least like 3 or 4 minutes as well. Like you said, was it 25, 26
It was
shots?
20. It was 21 or 22 shots.
It was ridiculous
because-
amount. I mean, Thor had 12 on his own, whereas the entirety of Los Hombres had 6. He outshot them by double and still didn't score. So if you take that game in a bubble, Los Hombres look like a decent team. They can compete with the big dogs, but over the course of the series, you could tell that the skill level just wasn't there. The Singularity were just outpacing them in places and could read what they were doing on defense quite easily, which is why you saw them pushing up quite a lot. And I think Magnus, I think we answered our question earlier, Jam. Magnus, what a fit for him in Singularity.
It's worked out pretty well for them so far, but bigger challenges will appear in front of Team Singularity as the bracket progresses. They're still not in it, not by a long stretch. Of course, we mentioned Monaco stepping up against them with one of the best players, one of the best newcomers for the rival series in Cash. I've been saying throughout the last season that if somebody will get picked up by a team in the league such as RLCS, it's going to be Cash. Someone most likely is going to come and take him away because he has been phenomenal. So for Monaco, who had, we've been talking about Beget Squad. Monaco pretty much went on the same trajectory.
Yeah.
And then down, all the way down. Interesting to see how they're going to change with that, whether Cash is the panacea for everything that has been going wrong with Monaco, whether it's going to change otherwise. But coming back to the series, though, while Los Hombres have proven that they can keep up, at the very least, stay on equal punches with teams such as Team Singularity, the fact is, it still wasn't enough. And as you said, Craftman, in a lot of senses, they were lagging just a little bit behind, sometimes even a lot. And that meant that, yes, you have the defensive capabilities, but you also need offense. And with the exception of some fantastic plays, those are far and few between. And Los Hombres need a lot more if they want to reliably win series like this one.
Yeah, a lot more firepower required on the side of Los Hombres, but they will drop down to the lower bracket. No doubt we will see them. Hopefully later on today, we'll see them in the future, certainly, hopefully in the rival series play-ins as well, a little bit later on this year. But we will go to a quick break while we get the next game set up. It is going to be Singularity taking on AS Monaco in a match which takes them one game away from qualifying for the Spring Series this weekend. Don't you dare move.
my heart. Don't wanna feel your touch like ice, tracing all my scars. Why is it hurt on the inside? It's unforgivable, but I forgive you every time. Hard to let it go, 'cause
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Spring Series Qualifier here on Rocket Kingdom TV. We are into our next game straight away. It is Monaco versus Singularity. And before I throw it over to you guys, we were talking earlier about Baguette Squad and how they had a miserable season in the Rivals Series. Yes, Monaco, they had a miserable season in the RLCS, second last in goals per game and shots per game. What is the thing that this team needs to do to progress, especially now that they have Cash from the Notorious Legion?
Well, I think in Cash, they've already got their answer. The comparison, which I'm telling everyone because I'm really proud of it in terms of, if you think about real-life football, soccer, here's my thought process. You're replacing Virgil van Dijk with Lionel Messi. You're replacing a super defensive player in Tigre with a super offensive player in Cash. And do not understate Cash's reputation, guys. If you haven't watched the Rival Series, the most recent season gone by, this guy, I wouldn't say carried Notorious Legion to almost promotion contention, but he was top of goals, top of assists, and top of saves across the board. He was the best player on that team, and he was deserving of a good team to go to. And I think that Monaco, they've got to be promotion favorites going into Season 10, absolutely.
Especially now, after the squad of Notorious Legion has had some troubles. They have been dropped by their own organization, and now this might be a good step up from him. As I said before the break, Cash most likely is going to be picked up by someone, and this hasn't been a play with him in tow. I'm expecting to see some good, solid stuff from him in the series between Monaco and Singularity.
And Jamie was really curious as well, I feel, and thank you very much, Craftman, for introducing. We're behind on the bracket. It's fast and furious. We've got to get into the match. So thank you for your intro, but we're certainly going to take it from here. I really do feel like this is a smart move for Cash. It seemed actually like he didn't necessarily want to leave the ex-Notorious Legion roster. It was a strange situation where he got dropped rather than being picked up by another team. But I think that not going to an RLCS team, but going to a team that's almost certainly going to be in that promotion picture for the Rival Series next season is really smart, because he has another season under his belt in Rival Series. He's getting to play with experienced players such as Extra and iIgnite in particular. And for iIgnite, I'm really hoping to see him transition into more of a Chronovi style of role now, where he falls back a bit because his striker days are over. He had one of the lowest shots and goals per game. Oh no, he had one of the lowest goals per game, but not shots per game. He was actually at the top of his team. I'm foregoing the fact that Team Singularity have scored, though, but that was mostly off a demolition. So iIgnite can save his blushes for now. It's going to be a tight game, I think. I feel like Cash adds a different dimension to any team he's on. And I'm excited to see how Monaco deals with such a different playstyle. I can almost see a Team Ekuzulu to Notorious Legion rise in Monaco now, since that is the difference of playing that we're talking about here between Cash and Tigre.
That's going to be a good change for them, and you can expect the heat of the games only pick up from this point on. We're not even in the qualifying game. That's going to be the next series on our screens. This is just a prelude to that. Two of the teams, one of which is going to go into that, we could say that final, I suppose. On paper, that is called something different, but the matter of fact is 4 of the teams today are going to qualify for the main event that will be happening over the weekend, as broadcasted on twitch.tv/Rocket League. For now, it is AS Monaco with a new face, and Cash indeed previously considered him only as a stand-in for that team, but just today he has announced that he has indeed left the Awkward Turtles, the ex-Notorious Legion squad, and now we'll be looking for a team. And why not AS Monaco? For now, though, why not Singularity? Those passes between Tho and Noli that we have seen in the previous series, they're still here. They have not gone anywhere.
And you got to imagine that Cash didn't have much boost on board, because I look at that play and he was the one responsible for trying to make the save. 2-1-up Singularity. And both of these guys in the previous round dispensing of pretty similar opposition, I think we can say with a lot of confidence. Now AS Monaco beating out RJM, who of course survive another season in the Rival Series. I would say probably a surprise result on that front. Did very well to keep themselves alive, and it was much thanks to the emergence of Justice midway through the season that they were able to take out some big opposition and get those all-important wins on the board to help their overall tally for the season. And we've just watched Los Hombres de Paco drop to Team Singularity, and certainly looking at them as a rival series team going forward from here. Nevertheless, we are still talking about an RLCS team versus what is now a rival series team, though most recently in the RLCS. And so I guess we should be expecting, at least if we look at the teams on paper, Jam, at a Singularity win. Doesn't matter how good Cash is, Singularity have picked up a pretty decent prospect in Magnus themselves. I hear that he's pretty good.
Yes, I've heard a rumor such as this one. It has been proven throughout the season so far. And while they haven't been in the big leagues for as long as some of our veterans, Greasy, we'll have to check with his team at some point. He, of course, has been here since season 1. And hopefully we'll continue on getting into big leagues, getting everyone excited about his play. For now, the first game will go in favor of Team Singularity, unless Extra has something to say about it. Careful. And with his teammate in tow, they might even set up something of their own. Though, knows exactly what he needs to do, but boy, for a second, Team Singularity's hearts have almost stopped. This should have been an easy drop. Instead, it was just a slow movement in the most dangerous way from the side of Monaco.
That is what Cash is capable of in first gear. We have yet to see Cash in third, fourth, or fifth gear. And I feel kind of sad that it fell to iGnite because, again, I cannot emphasize enough just how off the ball he was last season. It was honestly kind of sad. 0.31 goals per game. He picked up the most saves of the team, and he was assisting the most goals as well. But when you have the most shots on target of your team, you are expected to score goals, Jam. And score goals, he most certainly did not. A far cry from the striker iGnite that we have seen in seasons gone by. I'll revisit that point that I was saying earlier. I want to see him develop into a Kronovi type of player where just you're in such bad form in front of goal. Lean into what you're doing well right now, and he can create, he can save, he can form that anchor player which will allow Extra and Cash to move forward and flex their muscles. It wasn't a bad first showing from Monaco up against serious RLCS opposition, but they are going to have to step things up. Lucky for them, they're not going to be facing them next season, of course, but it would be nice for them to at least pick up a game to show, hey, we're not going to be old news, we're not going to fade into obscurity here.
And I'm hoping for just that, but the thing is, out of 64 teams that have started today, there's a lot of young blood who are just aching to take those spots of the rival series teams that have dropped out. Of the teams that have been relegated and might even disband. I'm looking at you, Karen, and looking at Magnus's old team. So for them, it's also a battle for survival. There's so many great players that come up through the scene as of late, and every single one of them is looking behind you, looking for one moment for you to slip up. And here, this might be the first chance for them to really start proving themselves. For now, though, we are still a long ways away from crowning one of these teams, or a couple of these teams, the qualified ones, and then, of course, the main event. We're going to get them all. Singularity now up in series by 1, and we'll be looking to increase that lead. Whether it's going to be Noli and Tho, it's definitely going to be Noli and Tho. Who else?
Tho's accuracy has been on point today, and once again, it's his established strike partner in Nolly providing the assist, and Magnus just lying in wait to clean up. Exactly a minute gone, and Singularity take the lead, and you're so right. I mean, Karen disbanded so hard that poor old Remco retired as a result. A little too early, I feel, as well. That Karen roster, it was like bringing a spoon to a knife fight. There just was none of the players there to make a decent offense click. And I still think Remco's got what it takes, honestly, to be a good player at the very least at Rival Series level. But Rival Series level is what we're talking about when it comes to Monaco right now at the moment, and being outclassed in the offense by Singularity. Another dangerous shot saved away. iGnite left flailing. Oh, that's poor. Thankfully, Cash was in the right place, but though taking out Extra, the transition having to come through Cash once again, who's not able to get the second touch, though they're first.
Some good ideas, trying to attempt an attack, and they desperately need it.
Holy cow!
That's Noli. Holy Noli. That's how you know him by, and what he's doing with the ball is just artistry. Circus mastery. If Cirque du Soleil is looking for a juggler, call Noli. He'll get the job done.
He's going Nolistic, living up to his previous name. I know it's shortened, but I remember those days. And Daylight for Singularity in game number 2. I do so very much hope that this isn't going to be a sweep. And now it's an open net here for Though. He falls a little badly. He gets the flick over one, crossbar, and Ignite flicks it away. And fair play to Cash, who was straight on that. It comes back into the midfield, but Noli again away. And Ignite called off by Extra, who has the better play, not able to get the better challenge in over Though. Shot comes flying in off the crossbar by Cash. And Though once again round the corner, though, Ignite read that pass out into the midfield well. Magnus reads the aggressive play even better, though. A bit of a misplay, actually. Extra and Noli fighting over that one. And here comes Cash for the first time, susses out one, looking for the second touch, and that was risky play indeed from Noli and Magnus. Over 2 minutes left on the clock. There's still no goal to show for Monaco.
They're looking for it hard. Cash is trying to be that spear point to which the attacks are happening through. And while Ignite, with his offensive past, is trying to create something for his own. And it's hard sometimes to be that super aggressive player, the one who have been called the prodigy when it comes to attack, and then stop attacking. So I still feel like Ignite will try to relieve his past. He knows that he can do it. He knows that he's used to be a star, the one that they're relying on for goals. But perhaps it is indeed time for him to drop that down. Currently watching him and seeing as he's looking for the opportunity just does not come. The ball is not reaching him. And as a result, no chances for Monaco being created.
Am I really going to do a My Hero Academia reference here? I'm going to do a My Hero Academia reference here. It's kind of like Deku and All Might. You've got the old veteran, the old pro who is seen to as the guy to go to when you want goals in Ignite, and the new blood, Cash, coming through. I want this story to have a happy ending. But in order for that to happen, Cash needs to live up to the hype. And he has been muted here. He's been a lot. Maybe now? No. Magnus with the save. Extra. Able to stop the ball from going any further. But again, Singularity controls the midfield. Cash finds Ignite, who finds the net, but not without Magnus there to stop the ball from going in. 30 seconds left, and still no breakthrough from Monaco, but at least their creativity is clicking.
Would be great for the Monaco to get that shot if they had it at the end of their attack, but that was the start of their attack. And much more importantly, Singularity were all in their half ready to take it on. They had one player advanced, two in the net. At no point were they in danger of conceding. That shot, great connection, a good find on the field to get ball to the Ignite. But as it stands, they didn't read the play, and they tried for it, but in that situation, chance of them scoring a goal was minimal. Instead, it's Team Singularity is going to come into the game number 2 with a goal scored straight at the end of regulation. And for that, they're going to take that and going to run with it. This has been their series so far, not a runaway series by no stretch of imagination, but it has been the series in which they have been methodically beating the side of Monaco in every single way, just like they've been doing with Los Hombres. The fact is, though, Monaco, we expected a little bit more from them. If Los Hombres are up-and-comers, potential players in the rival series, or at the very least those players who will be attempting for the play-ins, then for Monaco, we know the level, what we were expecting from him, and right now, Singularity is showing that level is not enough.
If you are a Monaco or Singularity fan who watched the most recent series, the most recent season rather, of RLCS, then you might remember that when these two teams faced each other, it was a 3-0 sweep in favor of Singularity. And we have the perfect setup here for it to happen once again. Different Monaco. Same old problem. They just can't score. Not for the want of trying. Cash has been creative, but there was one rather consistent problem that I was noticing throughout that entire thing, Jam. And that is every time that a ball was saved on the side of Monaco, there was no second player there with the confidence to say, let's just go for it and try and get some pressure on. You look at a comparison between Los Hombres and Monaco, and it's two completely different stories. One team with nothing to lose, and one team that has lost everything and is worried of going on a further downhill trend. You have to be ballsy if you are Monaco Esports. You can't fall into the same trap. It doesn't matter if you pick up cash if you can't utilize him properly.
Seems like they've been trying to do that, just that it is not clicking just yet for them. It might take some extra time, and if they are willing to put in that time, that the cash acquisition might pay dividends in the end. For now, it's nice to have a player such as Gaz. Really, almost any team right now and looking for a player would not go amiss by picking him up. But the matter of fact is, Arlik, I completely agree with you. They need to make sure that cash is utilized to the fullest, and right now, he's trying. He's trying, but it's not enough. The rest of the team is still seemingly lacking in supporting features and abilities. That's a steal by Ignite from Extra.
Doing?
He was going for it. He thought it was his. Really, it wasn't.
Where's the communication, dude? Extra had the goal on a plate, and you saved their own shot. When it rains, it pours. And if it wasn't for cash there on the opposite side of the field, Singularity would be up 1-0 again. The fact of the matter is, Ignite is suffocating right now. And it's 1-0 Singularity once again.
Extra so well played. And it just gets stolen away from him, though. That was there only by the matter of the assist. It is the Magnus who's getting that pinch, who is putting Team Singularity up ahead. And once again, the first minute has not ended, and we already have a lead for Team Singularity and an abyss for Monaco. That abyss, of course, is the losers bracket, as they have a second chance to go through. But with every single round, the amount of opportunities, the chances decreases. The opponents that are playing against you are that much stronger. I've said it at the very beginning of the broadcast. When you have problems, when you have some issues that you're trying to work out with your new players, in this scenario, you only have about 30 minutes to do so. Otherwise, you're out. And Monaco, they don't have an answer. Extra going backwards is not the answer. Them not being able to bring the ball out of the defense swiftly with a plan, definitely not the answer. For Team Singularity, there's no doubt as to what their game plan is. For Monaco, 3 question marks.
You know, I'm going to give Ignite some praise. I think he's one of the nicest guys in the Rocket League scene. Famous for giving some of the best hugs in the Rocket League scene, certainly. But I look at the stats on Octane. I look at Tigray, who got dropped from the roster rather unceremoniously. Understandable. He was bottom in a lot of situations. Ignite was lucky not to lose his spot, Jam. He really was. And you've got to start making question marks towards that one player, because Cash isn't the problem. He's new to this roster, and he's had an outstanding season in Rival Series. If it wasn't for Solari and RCD Espanol and BDS Esports, and how good all of those individual players, like some Monkey Moon, Cash would have been MVP, just for his performances alone. And I don't think much blame can be laid on Extra either. He was a bright spark last season. And actually, to be fair, if you go back 2 seasons to when Monaco was on their promotion campaign, it wasn't an easy journey for them. They dropped some games which they should have been winning. And I was saying back then, there are early warning signs that they have to sort out in between seasons, otherwise they are going to struggle at RLCS level, and it proved to be. I love Ignite, but you know, it's just a problem that he needs to sort out himself. It's a mental game.
Well, we've seen many of the change of the guard. Old players no longer being able to perform at the same level. Just recently, a lot. After having been saved from Rival Series so many times, has now dropped down completely, and not even participating in this tournament, the Spring Series. I'm not sure if his retirement has been announced, but he is not looking like he's going to be going back to his old selves. And the time just goes on, and there are going to be more new players.
Okay.
Extra, still in the running, ties up the third game of the series with Singularity on the match point. But this is what Cash needed to do. He just brings the ball all the way through. And only for the fact that Extra was on that flank waiting. That's a good position. Not all behind, not all on the right flank and in the middle, but somebody to grab the ball on the flank as well, the opposite one, and put it on target.
So they've got one. They've got some hope. And Cash is going to pick up the pieces in defense. Bring this out. 60 seconds left. Noli, though, what a pass. Oh, my goodness, and not the finish to apply. Up on the crossbar goes, though. And Monaco get lucky once again. They've got to prey on these moments, because otherwise they're going to be finding themselves 3-0 swept for the second time by Singularity within the last 6 months. Here goes iGnite once again. Extra. It's going to be beaten by Magnus, and Cash able to win the challenge against him now. Nolly going to keep it around the corner. Best that Monaco can do is score another goal. Quite obvious, that fact. I think just getting it to overtime in the first place, Jam, is going to be a good sign of things. Problems in defense once again cleaned up by Cash. I think he's actually had a pretty solid game, all things considered. He's been quiet on the offensive end, but in midfield, we've seen what he's capable of. Nolly going to try and carry it. He gets it over Extra, and Cash is there once again on the backboard. Magnus with a second touch. Cash surely just want to kill it. Yep, good call, I would say. OT. And they're on the ropes. AS Monaco, can they counterpunch?
There's a possibility. Their roster is capable of it. We have seen those players, minus Cash, a long time, but not when you make these sorts of mistakes. Not when all of a sudden your defense just goes bzzt, and you try to flick the on-off switch a couple of times and it's not working. He's taking some time, and by the time you do that, the series is over. There are no more chances. Monaco is going down to the lower bracket, while Team Singularity, they know when to strike, and they continue on being the killer so far in this bracket. Quality. Just quality all throughout. Nolly, though, has been leading the game mostly. Magnus has been switching more and more as the tournament has been going on through. Wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see Team Singularity as one of those teams that we're going to get one of those spots through the winner's bracket. Just a quick check as to who they'll be playing against. Some familiar names, as always. Well, actually, perhaps not as always. It's the Clappers. Archie, Calix, and Azorius. Not someone you perhaps would have expected at this stage, but credit to them. They have defeated some big teams, including Shaky, who have kicked out Veloce out, and Clappers have defeated Solari. So, Team Singularity, perhaps the big real test, or perhaps Team Singularity all the way to the bang for the main event.
I can see you, chat, by the way. Like, I can see some pretty vicious words, which, to be fair, if you are a fan of Monaco in terms of these players, I get it. You don't like it when people are throwing negative criticism against them, but the criticism is backed up by stats and by in-game performances. There was just something off about Monaco throughout that entire series. We saw it in front of us before our very eyes. Jam said it really well. It's just quality. It's just quality, ultimately. And Singularity, another 3-0 sweep. It proves that even with Cash in, even with Tigre out, when it comes to that final scoreline, nothing has changed. And Craftman, I think it is that mental problem that they need to overcome, whether it's one player, whether it's a team game. I want to be proven wrong. I want to love this AS Monaco roster. I want to see them automatically promoted into the RLCS next season, because we know the quality is there.
It's just I don't know. Yeah, it's just something just isn't clicking. And for me, from an outside perspective, it just looks like communication, because there's so many double commits. There's so many times where you see just the team all clumped up together, or they're just hesitating quite a lot. So it's just the team chemistry aspect of it. And if you ask me, this obviously this team coming into last season of RLCS was a hot team. We thought they would be, at least mid-table in RLCS. I don't think we were really expecting them to do phenomenally well, but we were not expecting an 0-9 from them and then get completely demoted back to the rival series. So their fall from grace has been catastrophic, to say the least. Obviously, in that game, bringing in Cash, you could see Cash was performing well. He was putting in the work there in that series. But like one of you said, I think it was you, Iroleague, just said, there's not enough support around him. Extra and Ignite just aren't pulling their weight.
Oh, that's
sorry, that's your cue to come in. Sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty much, yeah.
Just thinking about those words, and yes, this is exactly like that. Monaco has recently had change in the roster and the coaching staff as well. Simon has left together with Tigray. Simon has been their coach for quite a while now, and so now I think this is their rebuilding season. I won't go as far as saying that Monaco will take the Rival Series, immediately jump back to RLCS, the first season automatic promotion. No. And they still have a lot of work to do, but knowing these players well, knowing that have been around the scene for such a long time, and especially knowing that I don't think they have any plans of giving up. Their next season can be a rebuilding season, and then they can pounce back, especially if they find a suitable third, especially if they find a coach that can really bring the best out of them. And then, really, the sky is the limit for Monaco Esports, especially with support of such a huge organization, an actual football club behind them. I would like to see more of that happening. Unfortunately, RCD Espanyol have quit the scene, at least for the time being. But I'm hoping to see more of such organizations coming in through and taking command of those teams and perhaps leading them to the top, because they already have the experience in coaching. They already have the infrastructure, and here's hoping. Yeah. Here's hoping. For now, though, Monaco's down. Singularity still on the roll, and even for Singularity, it took a little bit of a while to get rolling. Their beginning series, only round one, was not convincing, especially if you look who they've been playing against. But the longer it went, the more I could see Tho and Nolly just click. I'm pretty sure they don't even have to say anything. They know exactly what they need to do, and it showed.
Yeah, and Magnus slipping into that third man role has worked out very well for Singularity. Very excited to see how they're going to progress. And just to wrap things up, I agree with your point entirely. The chat can flame us all they want for putting Monaco down, but they have not been putting in the work. I especially, I know you, Iroleague, we want to believe in Monaco. We want to support them. But if they're not putting in the performances, if they're not giving us the results, we have to be harsh. And that's just the reality that we live in. That's why we're sending Monaco down to the lower bracket, unfortunately. Do you want to say something quick?
I was going to say, it's time to make my stance right. If I'm going to be Mr. Toxic Cast, then I might as well live it up. Our job is to be critical. And if I see problems on the field, I'm going to call it out. Monaco, I want them to do well. I would love Ignite to find his form again. He's not in form, though, and ultimately the scoreline doesn't lie.
Yeah, it doesn't lie, and they will be sent down to the lower bracket. They will be facing... we actually don't know who they're going to be facing just yet. They're looking like maybe Oxygen Esports. Obviously, we were surprised to even see them down in the lower bracket. They're taking on Servette Geneva on the main Rocket Baguette channel just now, if you want to go watch that one. And Monaco's match will be on the Rocket Baguette channel as well. But here on Rocket Kingdom TV, we're just going to take a short break. It is going to be Singularity versus the Clappers of all teams for a spot in the Spring Series. Don't go anywhere.
the night. The city lights are dancing, slowly falling apart. The shadows causing an outbreak. I'm wishing upon a star. This time I'm feeling stronger, and I know I can do better. The shadows causing an outbreak. I'm turning the light. We're gonna light it up, oh, light it up, ooh, light it up, causing an outbreak. I'm turning the light. We're gonna light it up, oh, light it up, ooh, light it up, causing an outbreak. I'm turning the lights on.
We're back here on Rocket Kingdom TV. We are into our first qualifying match of the day. This best of 5 will decide who goes to Saturday and Sunday to take on the RLCS teams who have already qualified. One of 4 teams who are going to be qualifying from today. It is either going to be Singularity, who we've seen in our last couple of series perform fairly well, but they are going to be going on against a team that I don't think we really expected to be here, Jam. It is the Clappers. They've had quite the run through the bracket today.
It's an extremely young team, but it's a team that is getting results. You might have seen Calix a couple of times playing in such tournaments, but Archie, Joris, you're asking yourself, who are these people? These are some of the up-and-coming players. You take a look at Archie. He has been instrumental in some of the games I've seen him play, so I'm looking to see how well he's going to perform here. Joris has been performing well himself in the Rocket Baguette Rising Stars League and the Superstar League. Following that, he is playing for the Netherlands team, region, whatever you might call it. And to cap it off with Callis, who had a lot of experience on different kind of levels, including he is the backbone of the Clappers. He is that player from that roster all the way back from 2 years ago. So for them, it's going to be an interesting. If this is the new team, the new and upcomers who perhaps are going to knock down Team Singularity at PAG, I mean, why not? That's going to be such a great story.
Yeah, it really is. And for Singularity as well, Ira, like you were talking just off stream there about Singularity's run to the Spring Series and finishing mid-table in our RLCS. We didn't really expect much of them going into RLCS, but I think we saw them perform above what we were expecting, and now they're performing on the cusp of getting into the Spring Series now.
Well, I mean, certainly they've done well in themselves. The goal for any rival series team that's being promoted to RLCS should be to survive until next season. If you set your heights, or if you set your sights any higher, then you're just putting pressure on yourself, right? And so I think they did well to stay where they are. I think Magnus is a great pickup, and certainly on the evidence of what we've seen so far here today, he has slotted in perfectly. Nolly and Tho still hooking up well. The Clappers are the ultimate banana peel, though, right? Alex, the last time we saw him was Rival Series running with the boys with a lot Burrito B, where they had 2 bites of the cherry to get into Rival Series. They couldn't do it. This is as new blood as you can get. The likes of Joris and Archie, great prospects. Really hopeful to see what they can do. Singularity cannot be complacent. That's going to be their biggest enemy here today, is complacency. They've been playing well. If they keep playing at this level, it should be a 3-0 sweep. I'm sure that Calix and his boys have some tricks up their sleeve, though. And I'm just excited. I'm happy for them to be there, right? Just let's see what they can do. If they can nick a game, that's a good result.
And of course, the biggest enemy to complacency is the unknown, and that really is the unknown when it comes to the Clappers in this matchup. We'll get predictions from you guys as well. Jam, who takes this best of 5? Who's going to the Spring Series?
Oh, you know what? Just to rile up everyone just a little bit more, I want to see the Clappers get it. I want to see the young guns show exactly what they're capable of. We've seen this many times. Young players coming in through, putting in the hours, showing some incredible mechanics, and if they have a team to work with them, or sometimes around them, then it might get results. Tho and Noli have been tremendous, but I want to see what the new players can do, because every single one of these players is 18 and younger. They are here to start getting those prizes, start getting those wins, getting the medals, going to the world finals in a couple of years' time, perhaps. And this could be their first step. I want to see them clap Team Singularity.
And I really, same question to you. That comment there about clapping Singularity, you don't think it'll be closer than that?
I think that Singularity should have this one sewn up. Similar to my comments earlier, I'm going to go with my head rather than my heart. My head says Singularity should be a 3-0 sweep. That said, I would love to see the Clappers get a win. I want to be on this hype train, even if they drop to the lower bracket. There's still plenty that they can be proud of. I can't wait to see what they're about.
Yeah, well, I'm seeing a lot of support in the chat for Clappers as well. Who do you think is going to take this one? Is it going to be Clappers or is it going to be Singularity? Iron League and Jam, let's find out who's in the spring series.
They've beaten Servette, they've beaten Shaky, who beat Veloce Esports, and they've beaten Solari. That is a mighty impressive record for any team to have. For it to be a team comprising of, well, bubble scene players, Jam, is quite extraordinary. Calix, the one with the most experience of the lot of them, having rival series experience at the very least. As I said earlier, it is the ultimate banana peel challenge for Singularity, and an early goal would do them the world of good as they look to navigate what is undoubtedly a very tricky fixture.
This is going to be a real test. Obviously, the real tests are technically the rival series teams, the RLCS teams. But here, it is someone who's on the up and up, trying to prove their worth on the bigger scene, trying to break out of that title of a bubble player, and somewhere much higher, someone that teams would consider to have as a pickup, someone that perhaps are going to take a couple of those spots in rival series teams, or at least on the rosters that will be taking their chance coming into the next season of the rival series through the play-ins. And this is a pretty solid roster. A little bit of a hodgepodge, perhaps, but 2 English players, 1 Dutch on the side of Jurius, but they've decided to come together. They're gonna be, I think they're gonna be a threat, or at least a contender for the series. I said clapping. Realistically, perhaps not, but just it would make a really good story, wouldn't it?
And Calix, since we last saw him as well, switching it up from the Fennec to the Batmobile, wanting a bit more surface area, maybe a bit more control, maybe looking to play a bit more of a defensive style than what he did in the rival series when he was absolutely the boys' best offensive threat. I am fascinated to see how they line up. And to be fair, again, Jam, for a team of bubble level players, they've gone 2 minutes without conceding a goal, and even further to that, they've had some good offensive chances. This is a team that doesn't look phased at all by the level of opposition that they're up against.
It's on par right now with Team Singularity. You see the ball coming back and forth, and it's even. It's absolutely even. They have roughly the same ideas. They have pretty good ideas of exactly what they want to get from it. They're fast. That's very important because we've seen Team Singularity just run circles around some of their opposition. But here, Clappers are not phased by it once.
Jodus around the corner. And Magnus and Tho forced into a double commit as Calix was flying in there to try and make a shot. Noli in field, trying to find Magnus, who's a little bit too far over. Noli does get the demo, and Tho is closed down by Archie, who doesn't get the double touch, but Calix is going to help it onwards. Gets the close down on Noli, but the ball flies off to the left-hand side of the pitch, and 2 players miss, and here comes Archie again. It's a soft shot on target, but Noli there once again to make the save.
So confident from his side of Singularity. Magnus knew that he didn't have to go for it. He had support behind him. And that is just the confidence that you work out. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it just takes good communication. For them, it might be both, and it's working for Team Singularity right now. Clappers are not clapping anyone just yet, but I'm still incredibly impressed. Something I've been perhaps expecting from them one way or the other, but they're holding themselves up to the highest standard. And it's going to be interesting to see whether this is going to be their time to shine.
Downfield Hail Mary, we've seen this strategy work before for Singularity, not on this occasion. Noli didn't have the boost or the position to deal with that particular scenario properly. And Archie again going to close down before this ball leaves the orange half. Magnus, nice team play. And again, Joris, the midfield being controlled rather nicely by Clappers. No real missed challenges, no real bad challenges. It's all just really good stuff. And that is, again, considering the quality of opposition that they're up against, is honestly just a success in itself. Joris is going to put this one onto the backboard. He's going to have a free double tap, and the Clappers, the run continues. They take the lead in game number 1.
What a great attempt, and what a great scoring opportunity as well. Jurius, Again, someone you might not have heard of, but you might want to put him on your radar. The Clappers have been fighting well right now. They are looking like, again, nobody has been run away with this game just yet, but the fact is that just how even this is, Clappers might as well start building that lead. They have been answering everything that Team Singularity have been throwing against them, and most importantly, Team Singularity is now running out of potential answers to all of the questions that the Clappers are posing, and this opened up quite a lot. Calyx, for example, is now on the breakaway versus 3, but even for him, that proves a little bit too much. The Batmobile could not save him there.
A reminder, by the way, folks, as well, that this for a place in the Spring Series happening this weekend. This is where the money is won, and that is a 2-goal lead for the Clappers. Archie on the board, and Singularity are stunned.
That's a shell shock if I've ever seen one. 2 in quick succession. The game has just been swiped away from Team Singularity with only 30 seconds to create something. And I'm not seeing them doing so. The passes had not been so pinpoint. Noli and Do have not been able to find each other with such precision. And as a result, Clappers, 2 surgical strikes, and it wasn't like it was, again, only 2 chances. No, the chances have been created throughout the whole of the game, and now they have made themselves into a position of a leader in a series, only by 1 game. And in the best of 5, this is only a small start. This is a great advantage. It also proves that Team Singularity in this bracket might have finally found their foe, somebody that we're not just expecting to win, but someone who actually steps up to that plate and fits the bill of a real opponent for Team Singularity. This is now where the real fight begins.
Gotta say as well, Calyx, the most experienced there, was just kind of sitting back and letting the 2 young guns take point. Great stat from Martin, I noticed in chat as well. Archie and Jorutz, both born in 2005. Yikes, we're getting old. But it just shows that the ever-turning conveyor belt of talent in whatever esport you're in, it keeps on going, and we're going to see better and better and better players coming out as esports becomes a bigger and bigger and bigger thing in the World Book of History. And are these the next 2 breakout stars of the Rocket League scene? It's way, way too early to call that right now. But taking a game off RLCS Singularity, I said it at the top of the series, that is already a massive success for what is a bubble series team. And until we're proven otherwise, let's see how the rival series play-ins for Season 10 of the RLCS play out. Game number 2. And Magnus trying to use a bit of experience to suss out the defense. Nolly trying to slip it in under the bar, but Archie was equal to it with a save. And I think that's one thing to say positively for Singularity. Yes, they were flat, but they were still getting plenty of shots on net. It was just ultimately good defense from the Clappers that saw them go without a single goal conceded.
Defensive-wise, this has been the best performance we have seen against Singularity, and we have been with them quite a lot.
Hello.
Same cannot be said for Team Singularity themselves. 2 attempts, neither of them reaching the target. It's Jorius. The fact that he got the 3rd touch on the backboard as he landed set up the whole play. Tho could not believe it. He was there where the ball should have been going. Instead, it has escaped him completely, and it's only the cleanup crew for the Clappers that gets that goal. Team Singularity, this is... Are you sweating yet? Because you should be.
Have they slipped on the banana peel already? Or are we just starting to see multiple wounds and fractures appear as they fall to the floor heavily? The rot needs to be stopped now, but Archie with another free shot at net. This one off the crossbar and Jorts over to the side. It falls into the hands of Magnus, but he was rotating back. He does well to chip that over the top of 1. Again, though, Archie so cool and calm on that wall. He helps it eventually back to Calyx, and once again the ball ends up in the orange half. It's almost like a punching bag where we see, okay, the shots are being thrown into the wall and they're going towards net, but there has never really been a moment in the last 7 minutes or so, Jam, where I've thought, oh boy, this is threatening. Again, curse to the commentator. It's like I ask for it and it happens. Finally, a breakthrough for Singularity, and Tho passing over to Nolly once again. The strike partnership returns.
What a rollout. Calyx gets beaten by Tho as he's carrying the ball. Noli, a short rotation. No time in the net, straight up in the attack as he sees that his teammate got the control of the ball. Most likely shouts out to him, I have the boost, I'm going to start pushing it. That's how they get one. That's how they get the other. That's Magnus this time on the assist. As Team Singularity break out of their defense and make sure that that pass is connecting. In the same way that the Clappers have been beating Team Singularity on the ground, this time a swift pass beats Clappers to a solid rotation. They were just positioning themselves for that defense, and they were already beat as Team Singularity crashed in their net.
And just like that, they're off the floor. And they are ready to go once again. The script has been flipped. But Singularity still don't look convinced of their own storyline. Archie there closed down before the shot could be launched towards an open net. And though now off the backboard, he was hoping that a third would be coming in, but Noli and Magnus both staying back. Magnus needed to stay back to get in front of that effort. And though looking to get the challenge on Juritz again, not happening. Not phased are the Clappers as we pass half-time. And look at Juritz, just wanting to be a nuisance, just happy to bump so that even the clearance doesn't come through. As Noli there, what was that, a triple tap or something? Though and Calix both taking each other out as Archie trying to suss out Magnus, but so much experience, not going to happen. And although the defense is a little bit suspect here, again, Magnus on hand to help them clear.
I'm just loving what I'm seeing from Clappers in terms of bringing the players in. They have the playstyle of players coming in through
open
and
net,
getting more shots on that target to a T. But with the open net, all your offensive plans go to nothing. That clear. Archie was going straight up for it, but technically he was the last player in. Not seeing that there's already a player rushing towards him, towards the net. He concedes that ball and concedes the third goal for his team. As Clappers, looking good at the very start, are now being crushed by Team Singularity.
You've got to say, it's no more than Singularity have deserved on the face of things. They have been, as I said, putting plenty of shots on net at least, although that said, breakdown in communication, and Archie's going to draw it back to a one-goal game once again. Check this out as Calix goes to the backboard. Magnus should have been up for that, and though rotating back really had no chance as Archie fired. 3-2, 90 seconds remain.
Well, that's when they were trying to figure out where that ball is going to go, and they guessed wrong. All three players in defense still unable to read the intention. So far, though, from both of the sides. Again, at a certain level of play, you know the playbook of your opponent. You know exactly what they're going to be doing, because pretty much everyone's doing the same thing, but it's the question of how fast, how unpredictable, perhaps at times, after all, they're going to perform that. And so far, the Clappers, if this is a test, they are passing with flying colors.
60 seconds to find a goal, and you can see there an attempted bump. What helped Noli was that he was actually a little slow to the situation, and that's what allowed him to avoid that bump and ultimately get that effort into the box, though denied by Juritz. And Archie gets this to the halfway mark, gets it past the halfway mark, and Noli going to put this up high. Magnus with only 21 boost, forced back down, makes the save, but still this pressure ramping up. Archie top corner, Noli with the save.
They need the third one immediately. Dazura is coming in through, trying to push it past Magnus. Only that was just a tad too higher. And here comes that clear, the one that they've been looking for the past 30 seconds, because the Clappers were not leaving that orange side of the field. This could be a pass, and this could be a goal that can just kill the game altogether. One last attempt for the Clappers to start us up. Do they have players in the air? No, they do not. That's one for Team Singularity. But give it another 2 minutes. This might have been a game in a completely different direction.
Good game management there at the end as well from Singularity, making sure the ball hit the floor as much or as quickly as it possibly could. And I think Magnus there, obviously there was a lack of communication on the second Clappers goal, but overall a really strong performance from him. 4 saves tabled up. He had 1 shot on target and he scored it. Though a little bit more quiet in this particular series, but I think honestly with Magnus stepping up to the plate, wasn't really missed that much. The Clappers, though, their offense is still so strong, Jam. Over 10 shots on target. Almost double the amount of Singularity. It's not for the want of trying that they are losing game number 2, and Singularity still has to be careful. Yes, they could have won by more, but on another day, they could very well have lost the game entirely.
I feel like we're going to see something like that in our third game of the series, as it has been tied up 1-1. Clappers, their rotations are short, just like we've seen from Team Singularity, of course, but the Clappers know exactly when it's time to continue on, when it's time to retreat, or when it's time to really stay. And that's where they get all those shots. That's where the pressure gets to Team Singularity, and almost we see him crack. Perhaps if the Clappers tighten down those climbs just a little bit more, we're going to see those goals. For now, every single time a shot comes, there's always someone from Team Singularity, but it can't continue forever. We've seen even the biggest of the defenses break down. If the pressure just continues on getting applied, and there's Archie straight from the word go saying, I want that goal. I want immediately to put the Clappers on the front foot and continue. I want that handicap. I want to see how Team Singularity performs under pressure of being down.
Arguably should have been a goal, Jam. Arguably should have been. Still, it's a good start, and Archie again. The feels bad backflip when he could have been in a perfect position to redirect. You can forgive him for these errors. It's a pretty high-profile game, but you cannot forgive Calix for that one. 1-0 Singularity.
Routine clear off the backboard. He needed to get that, positioned himself for a really long time. I wouldn't even blame him for taking too long to getting there, but by the time he went there, it was already too late. Not a chance to get on the backboard, I don't think so, so he decides to play from below. And that's how the Clappers concede. Unfortunate, but will now have to claw from the back.
And it starts with Joritz here on the wall, though takes advantage of the heavy touch. Although Calix has a free ball to shoot towards net, Mognus up high. And Archie going to pick up possession here, misses his second touch, and Calix misses a shot. Taken out by Though. And although Joritz picked up possession, it was another heavy touch. And restarting from square one, the Clappers. Archie, backboard. Nice touch there to get into the center circle, and Joritz finishes off 1-1 tie game.
It's a goal in the end, but I would really love to see Archie score from that angle. That second tight touch. But you only need just a follow-up. This is a setup. If it isn't a goal, then it's a setup. Everything that you're doing is for the purpose of setting up your teammates as they're coming in through. If you can do it, someone else behind you can. And if they can do it, you just rotate back and try again. And that's how Clappers have been getting all that pressure in the offense. They just don't stop. You know when they know when it's time to quit? But before that, until that very moment comes, they're going to continue pressuring.
You want 13k, do you? Keep on doing stuff like that. Or as though completely bamboozled by what happened in front of him. It's a 2-1 lead for the Clappers. And you gotta say that Though a little bit suspect there on the goal line.
Got himself a tad too far out from the goal line. Pushed out, and that did not allow him to do anything against Archie. When you are forced to tiptoe back, lets you know where you've got himself in poor position, and something has to give, especially with Archie. He knew exactly what was at the end of that rainbow, a goal for him.
Right, Singularity again, questions asked. Great win in midfield from Nolly. Calix this time does get the backboard read, and away they go into midfield. Though, going to put it into the far corner, and Archie with a miss off the backboard himself. But what a great recovery. And make sure that he not only gets the challenge, but bumps the Singularity players standing there at midfield. Not able to prevent the pressure from oncoming, though. Again, great clearance coming out from Joritz as we head to half-time. Looking for the demos. Archie carries it over one, and this time Though with a much better starting position makes the save, and Noli going to try and lift it over Joritz, but again, such just beautiful game management in their own half coming out from the Clappers. It doesn't matter what comes their way, there are players evenly spread out over the field, no real double commits to speak of, maturity up against the highest of quality.
That's what really stopping Team Singularity of unfolding their biggest weapons, those passing plays, rollouts from their own defense that just catch the opposing team unawares. Clappers are aware all the time, and that's why Team Singularity have been struggling to get anything going in this game. One shot, one goal, that is unlike the Singularity we have seen today. It's all because the Clappers are confident in every single facet of the play. Their defense is on point, although now they're running out of players. Without Noli getting that touch, and with confidence dropping from Team Singularity, those mistakes and those uncertainties might only grow.
That was another wayward pass. You could see the lane, but it was closed down so quickly by the on-rushing Clappers defender. Demo game starting to come out a lot more prominently from Team Singularity. Frustrations starting to seep on through. You can feel it. Calyx, and great challenge from Magnus. It goes all the way down the other side of the pitch. Not able to get a touch on the ball, but here comes Noli, not able to get over the top of Calyx. And you gotta say, it's a different role for Calyx today in comparison to what he was doing on that boys roster. But he settled into it rather nicely, Jam. If I was either of these two young guns, I'd be thinking, hey, we are allowed to go and do what we're able to do up in the offensive third because this guy's having such a good game in our own half.
And that's exactly what you want to do in this situation. When you have players with technical abilities of Archie, of Juris, you want... Your third is just going to be that player you can rely on. You know he's going to be there. You know, if anything, he's going to set you up with passes. And why not use the technical abilities of Young Guns? People, again, players have been just grinding it out because they can, because they're still learning. And they, honestly, if this would have been an RPG, their XP gain right now is through the roof. And it's working out for them pretty well.
Calyx up high, 10 seconds left. The Singularity to try and just rescue a goal. Archie with a huge challenge that goes as far away from any Singularity player as could possibly hope to see. That is match point for the Clappers, and Singularity have a lot of work to do to rescue this series.
Start from trying to figure out how to break down that Clappers tactic, positioning, formation even. What you have been doing so well against the previous teams is no longer working. And they have time. Most importantly, they have time. I wouldn't say that when the Team Singularity is rolling out of their own half that they are necessarily pressured by Clappers. Clappers pull on that pressure up until that point when they need to retreat, when they know that, okay, we can't get anything out of this defense, and then we're going back. Team Singularity have the time to roll out, but perhaps in a hurry to do so, they are not able to connect with each other. And counterattack's also not working because Clappers are so good at making sure that when the time comes, they're out, just out of here. And their defense is once again presented with 2, sometimes even 3 players. The Team Singularity just don't know how to work together.
Do they have the steel to lock this down in 4? Or are Singularity going to be offered a ray of hope? Game number 3. No, sorry, game number 4. I can't count. I can count that, though. That's 1-0 to the Clappers. First job done.
1 goal. Look at that teamwork. Brilliant. Just don't have to do it yourself because you know somebody is rushing to your help. Support from Clappers has been superb. We've talked about what Calyx has been doing, but they're also following each other on the field. We've seen the same from Team Singularity. When the time came when they're going through the flank, even if 150-50 gets lost, there are a player behind who picks up the ball and rushes. And that's exactly what happened here with the with Clappers. Another ball goes to the middle as another 50-50 is won in favor of the Clappers. And those singular shots just not working. We need Noli back in his form when he is just juggling that ball from his own half to the opposing side net all by his lonesome and gets the goals. Instead, it's just weak touches somewhere forward, which are not working out.
If you're the likes of Veloce, you drop down early, you think, it's okay, it's the lower bracket, this is going to be fine. How many big teams have dropped so far? You do not want to be... It's almost like dropping into a pit of fire at this point, as Archie's going to hit number 2! My word, what a couple of players we have on our hands here. Calyx must be laughing at the squad which he's assembled here.
Brilliant idea. Don't put it on net. There's a goalie there. Put it on the wall and force the goalie to go for it because he knows if he's not reaching it, the second player is coming like a steam train. It has no brakes. His name is Archie, and he's just gonna put it on target. The 1-2-3 meta, or meta, if you're actually speaking English properly, is there with the Clappers. They know exactly what they need to do.
Say meta, it's okay. Then again,
meta sounds too British. Meta.
Oh, so you're afraid of sounding British, is that? To be fair, we say a lot of things wrong. We have to apologize in advance, but goodness me, this is... we talk about Los Hombres, for example, and how good they're looking in what we assume will be a rival series run through the play-ins. Look no further than the Clappers. 3 minutes, though, still on the clock, Jam, and that is 3 minutes in which Singularity can quite easily find 2 goals. Is this the first? No! Magnus denied by Archie. What a save!
To quote the Wayne's World, pretty darn good movie. Denied.
Magnus. Again, Calyx in the midfield causing all sorts of problems. The passing lane's closed down, though. Flip reset. Only good enough to get it past 1, and immediately gives up possession to Calyx once more. Nolly. And Archie, you can see Calyx looking for demos. He got 2 of them, but Magnus stands strong in the corner, and Joris there somehow fashioning a decent pass with the back of his car. Fortunately for him, neither Calyx nor Archie were there. None of them had the boost. It is Archie again, backboard, Joris! 3-0!
Look at Team Singularity. They are forced to scramble themselves back, try to figure out where the rotation is going. But when your players are out, when you're relying on everyone already being in that position, and yet you're getting beat to the punch to every single one of these moments, well, I mean, I've asked Team Singularity, are you sweating? Because by this point, they must have sweated tons. Clappers have their number. They're doing everything right. And Team Singularity, sometimes perhaps not even using 100% of their potential, are now being shown the door. Calyx, can he connect with this one? He sort of needs a goal. I would love for him to leave this game with at least 1 to his name, because Archie and Joris have already done enough to take this game under their belts, and this is gonna be the one that's gonna take them to the main event against some big names. But you wouldn't expect this team to be here. You would expect some of the big names. We, of course, thinking about Veloce. We're thinking about Oxygen Esports, the ex-Reciprocity team. Veloce is out. Triple Trouble is out. Oxygen is currently playing against girls, and God knows what's going to happen in those series. But here, Team Singularity is going to lose it. I'm not seeing a comeback, our league. I'm just not seeing a comeback, because what we've seen from the Clappers has been top-notch material.
They need a goal soon, but Calyx on hand once again with the defense. 60 seconds to find 3. We've seen crazier things happen. Magnus into the center, but away from Joris. Their defense has been stellar. I mean, we can talk all we like about how they've taken their chances, but it's been born off the back of defense. Another missed backboard touch, this time from Singularity, and that could have been number 4 had Joris met its mark. Magnus is just left flailing as Nolly produces an acrobatic save. Calyx off the top of the box as those going to throw it over to the corner. It's not just the defense. It's not just the offense. The boostial game. The midfield game. It's the complete package for the Clappers. Another save comes out from Calyx. 20 seconds. And this, I tell you what, RLCS broadcast team, hi, from Rocket Kingdom here. I presume you're watching this game, because you're going to be commentating on a team called the Clappers. They're formed of Calyx, Archie, and Joris. Here's some good facts and advice for you. Do not underestimate them, because they have just beaten Singularity, not even in 5 games, but in 4. 13k at the very least goes their way. They have qualified for the EU Rocket League Spring Series. Wow.
To live up to their name, I can only just give them. It's not even a golf clap. I would like to have a lot, many more people behind me just clapping, because that was something else. They should be proud of their performance. This has been stellar. And once again, these are the young guns coming into the scene and saying, Grandpa, move over. And then I'm saying, Grandpa, this is 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds in case of Magnus. And yet, here comes Archie. He says, I can do this and that, and you can't do anything about it. Welcome to, in this case, I would have to say the big leagues. They're going to be up against their LCS teams, and I'm thinking, if anything, they're going to enjoy it. But if they're going to throw some upsets, the way of Vitality, Dignitas, oh boy, then this is going to become an even better one. I cannot wait until the weekend. But first, we haven't even found out all of our teams. And certainly we have not talked all the way through. Craftman, you're there somewhere.
Yes.
Unexpected, for sure.
Oh my, what a series. What an unexpected, at least from our perspective. I know I was kind of watching chat throughout that. I was eating my dinner just there. So I was watching chat, and everyone was saying, "Oh, they don't rate the clappers. Oh, biased commentators." And I'm like, they proved it. I mean, we were talking in the last series about us kind of criticizing Monaco quite a lot, but we were criticizing clappers. Well, we were really criticizing them all much. We just weren't bigging them up as much as Singularity because we know the firepower behind that team. Now we see this young gun. They're knocking on the door. Knock, knock. Who's there? It's the Clappers. Welcome to the big leagues, as Jam said.
In one of the biggest upsets of the day, League smiles and is positive about a team, and I'm so happy I can be positive about this team. My word, the Clappers. I mean, so let's look at this run again, by the way, just to, clarify how they got here. They beat Servette Geneva Esports, rival series team, albeit relegated last season. They beat Shaky, who beat Veloce. Freak result, maybe. Either way, they did beat Veloce, so they got to be feared. They've beaten Solari, who next season are going to be an RLCS team.
Yeah.
And they've just taken out Singularity plus Magnus, which I think universally we've all agreed is a great pickup in terms of, improving that team, bringing them up to maybe promotion contention. Next thing we're going to be saying is, oh, hey, the Clappers are going to LAN. Hold
on there, Buster. Hold on there, Buster. First of all, there needs to be LANs, first of all.
True, yes, absolutely. True. Yeah.
Also, they need to now compete with big guns. Now, we've seen them, obviously, Singularity, Veloce, and now Solari, of course. Now they are all our LCS teams, but now they have to compete with what the continent has to offer, the biggest teams the continent has to offer in Vitality, in Dignitas, in Mouse Sports, and in Barca. The question now is at the next stage, Jam, is can they run with those big dogs, or is this a flash in the pan?
It's a sign of things to come. We shouldn't just buy off this performance say they're giant killers, they're gonna defeat absolutely everyone. If they do, fantastic. If they don't, they should be proud of what they have accomplished, and the future for them is bright. And even if a moment ago we have not heard about these players, these are the new faces that are going to be coming into the scene pretty soon.
Absolutely. So they are the first team that is qualified for the spring series for this weekend, and you've seen it right here on Rocket Kingdom TV. And the other game that's going on just now is Canyons versus Endpoint. That's happening on the Rocket RB stream, which is the English Rocket Baguette stream. You can see that just now. I don't know what the score is at the moment. Actually, it's just finished. Endpoint 3-1 against Canyons, so they are through. So your two teams so far out of today are Endpoint and the Clappers. They will be making their way through to the spring series this weekend. But for now, we need to jump down to the lower bracket to find out our other two teams that are going to qualify. But for the moment, we're going to say goodbye to Irelic and Jam. We're also going to say goodbye to you just for a moment. The stream will go down as we're changing over broadcasters. Thank you very much for Kiza for taking us through the first half of the stream. We will have Tractor Manager on the broadcast along with the Eternal J and Digital Bacon after this short break. Please do not go anywhere. We will be right back.